Hello, my little ninjas. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. And welcome to your Wake and Bake News. No. Wake and Bake News? Go with Wake and Bake News. Welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie. And we have our lovely co-host, Boo Bear. He's my beautiful baby. And we have the amazing sun coming up over the Ukraine once again today. And what else do we have? I have a couple videos. I have one from Kennedy about Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter, which hasn't happened yet, but is making everybody crazy apparently. And it's so weird, people fighting against freedom of speech, because it sounds like, Musk is talking about turning Twitter into an actual free speech platform, and which would be amazing. But all these people, I don't like saying left or right. All these people, all these like mainstream people are just like, oh my God, there's gonna be free speech. People are gonna be able to challenge what we say. We can't have this. It'd be really nice to see these things fall into place, because I'm so tired of people who hate free speech, of people who hate freedom, being the people that are in charge of protecting that freedom. I can't stand it. It's driving me insane. Why would anybody? That's like putting, the fox in charge of the hens, right? It just is just such a lie, and we need people that actually care about freedom, about what's happening in the world, about our freedoms being eroded. I don't know if that's where Musk comes from. He seems to understand the problems of censorship, which they're not complicated. They're really not complicated. It's and one of the clips is he's talking about how freedom of speech is not, which is something I've said again and again. Freedom of speech is not about speech that you agree with. Okay? Freedom of speech is about speech that you don't agree with. Speech, you're like, you can't say that. Well, yeah, I have freedom of speech. I can say that. Unless, of course, Elon doesn't buy Twitter. Because the powers that be will say again and again, you can't say that. You cannot talk about the plague like that. You can't talk about vaccines like that. You can't talk about the Hunter Biden laptop. On and on and on. So it'd be really nice to see somebody getting a hold on that. See somebody fighting for freedom. I don't see, any of these big guys with the big bucks, standing up to fight for freedom. They're all like, yeah, well, we're not going to allow that. We're not going to allow that. We're not going to. Who are you again? Oh yeah, you're the guy with all the money. I forgot. That doesn't make you in charge of people's freedom of speech. That doesn't make you in charge of people's freedom of expression. And this is so important. I've told you guys over and over, this is so important to humanity. For us to be able to grow, for us to be able to learn, is to be able to have a free exchange of ideas. Because if we're not having a free exchange of ideas, then there's only one answer. And there may only be one answer, but there's a lot of different perspectives on that answer, and we need to come to that answer together. If there's just these people going, yeah, your opinion doesn't matter, we already figured it out, you need to do what we say, that's not freedom. And it should be threatening to everyone. Did I mention that I'm ready for a bong hit? I haven't had a bong hit yet today. All day long. Poor me. I've been so busy. Oh, so good. I don't know. If you'd like to call, the telephone number is up there on the screen, 805-669-6397. I'm getting very, very close to a bong hit here. In fact, I can't wait. But we'll wait just a minute. Alright, so where were we? We're talking about bong hits. That sounds like such a good idea. Oh my god. Let's see. So we have some cameras. The sun's coming up over the Ukraine. We love watching the sun come up over the Ukraine. It just looks like such a peaceful place to hang out, smoke a fatty. And we'll check back on that from time to time. We also have some videos that I want to play for you, but I don't want to rush into playing videos. I'm ready to do a bong hit, damn it. Here, let me do a bong hit. Let me get ready to do a bong hit, and we'll watch this video about the microchip shortage, and then we'll smoke a fatty, okay? The number is 805-669-6397, 805 News, if you'd like to call sometime after the video. So I'm going to play the video now. It is about microchip shortages. It's driving the price of video cards insane, right? You get this video card for $150 last year. They're going to cost you $700-800 this year. Crazy. All right, so let's play that video, and I'll be right back with a big fat puff. How's that sound?
As you've been hearing, the demand for microchips jumped during the pandemic, and production disruptions and supply chain issues have made it difficult for suppliers to keep up. KIRO 7's Meg Oliver reports how now experts want the government to help American manufacturers make more chips.
How big is this facility?
So this facility is about 420,000 square feet.
Here at Global Foundries in upstate New York, everything looks yellow. Special lighting is used to protect the delicate production of microchips. Engineer Christopher Belfi is equipment manager.
How complex is it to make these microchips? They're in everything we use, phones, TVs, cars.
It is extremely complex.
Chips are needed for just about all devices, laptops, home appliances like refrigerators, gaming consoles, and medical equipment. The chips are the brains of devices. The U.S. produces just around 12% of the world's supply, and we've relied heavily on chips produced in Asia. But when the pandemic hit, it shut down major production plants, decreasing supply. There is renewed focus on producing more chips at home, as some experts warn not doing so could also be a national security risk. The House is currently considering the Chips for America Act. That would provide U.S. manufacturers with $52 billion in funding to help boost domestic production.
Why is it so important to manufacture on American soil?
Well, I think it starts first and foremost with security.
Tom Caulfield is the CEO of Global Foundries. In addition to upstate New York, they have facilities in Vermont, Germany, and Singapore.
What stage are we at in this chip shortage?
I'd like to be more optimistic and tell you that right around the corner, help's on its way. Just the complexity of technology, that it takes years to put capacity on. And I think for the better part of the next 5 to 10 years, we'll be chasing supply in this industry.
Experts estimate the chip shortage cost the U.S. economy around $240 billion last year. A recent report from the Department of Commerce found in 2021, demand for chips were as high as 17% more than in 2019.
Both the House and Senate have passed their own versions of the CHIPS Act. And while there appears to be bipartisan support, there's no agreement yet, so no funding. Meg Oliver, CBS News, Malta, New York.
Okay, I'm gonna have a big fat puff. That computer chip issue may not be affecting you. If they don't resolve it, it's going to. That's all this, technology. We need everything, technology. Everything's got to be linked. We're all part of the Borg now. Resistance is futile. You ready? Ready? I feel much better now. I hope all of you are feeling well also. It's another beautiful day in the Northwest. Me and Boo Bear went out for a walk. 5 minutes into the walk, it started hailing today. Like, wow. What a pretty day. Whew. All right, who's doing Easter egg hunts this weekend? Huh? Who's doing Easter egg hunts? I want to know, because I used to love Easter egg hunts. I really did. I used to love Easter egg hunts. But it's always fun, you know, when you're a kid and you're hunting for treasure. Ooh, treasure. Right? It's always fun hunting for treasure when you're a kid. I can remember having dreams when I was a kid about hunting for treasure. It was always very exciting. Right, Boo Bear? Huh? Right? Anyways, it is going to be Easter this weekend, and I've been trying to decide what it is I want to cook. I think, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know what I want to cook. But I cook something because I'm hungry. Let's see. Because I like food. Alright, so we have all these things happening. We have the Ukraine, we have the Elon Musk, we have the war between Russia and the United States. And it's really a stupid question, pardon me for a stupid question, about the United States and Russia being at war. Are they? Is the United States already at war with Russia? And I think it's obvious they were at war with Russia way before the Ukraine hit. You know, this thing like, oh, we're going to be hit by a cyber attack every single day for the last 20 years. United States and Russia have done everything they can to cyber attack each other, to get into each other's computers. It's like something new. Oh, the heightened alert on the nuclear weapons. Really? Really, can there be a more heightened alert than we have nuclear weapons ready to go? Because that's the way it's supposed to be right now. We have nuclear weapons. Oh, we need to get a heightened alert on those nuclear weapons ready to go. And again, nuclear weapons are just stupid. It's not something to worry about for 1 second. And you know why? Because there's nothing you can do about it. And if it happens, it'll happen so fast it'll be like the blink of an eye, and we'll all get raptured together at the same time. Be fucking awesome. So don't dread the Reaper. Is headed this way. I don't know, people. I just come out here to have a bong hit with you. That's about it, honestly. And to see if we can have a discussion, because I like discussing things when we have the opportunity. Otherwise, you know, I have a couple videos and play for you, and I'm gonna eat another brownie or something. And it is Dabs for Donations Thursday, so if anyone wants to give a donation, I will be most happy to do a dab. You know, the thing is, I can't really thank you enough. For those of you who give donations, it means the world to me. Just you showing up, You know, just you showing up here means the world to me. You're busy people, you work hard, you know, you give a donation. That's, it's not just going out of your way, it's not just spending your time, it's not just, you know, jumping through hoops to give something back to me. It's, it's that, you know, you take some of your resources to share, you know, so beyond your time and everything else. You know, you're just so nice as to kick down a little something something for yours truly. Can't thank you enough. But I'll be happy to do a bong hit in your honor. What's up, Jay?
Michael, this is Mary.
Uh-huh.
I just want to hear the first caller.
Always. You're always the first caller.
Because I have important things to say in my mouth.
Okay.
God, I got to get something better to put in my mouth than paper towel. Yeah, man, I got my Templar hoodie on. I'm ready for Easter. Easter is a holiday where ISIS came down from planet Xenon to save Ra from the 7th Emperor of Nibiru when the pyramids started backfiring and shooting death ray weapons out into space. That's the original source of Easter. So I'm ready, and it really doesn't have anything to do with rabbits. You know, they say it's, you know, Jesus rose from the dead in 3 days, so I'm only going to eat dead meat for 3 days, and then the 7th Emperor of Nibiru is going to come back and steal all our gold. And the United States is at war with everybody all the time, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody knows that. I think a lot of people are brainwashed into some type of, you know, like Munchausen syndrome, you know, like, oh, we can do no wrong kind of thing, so.
Munchausen's?
Yeah, like, you know, you begin to identify with your captor, your hostage taker. You're like, oh, you know, I understand why you're doing this or whatever. I don't know. I find it hard to get into that psyche of understanding about people that are in the process of hurting me, fuckers.
Yeah, you know, for more than a century, people were coming from Europe and Africa and South America and the Orient to this promising new country called America, where you could get 40 acres and a mule, and you were completely free to do whatever you wanted, and there's no pressure. You could be a Buddhist or a Hindu. It doesn't matter about religion, and you could just make a fucking castle out of dirt and turn it into gold if you worked hard enough. It's a land of opportunity, and it's an American dream. And you got 4 presidents carved on a fucking mountaintop, and everything was so much better than the land that we come from. And now it's all just a pile of shit. We're a little bit better in some ways in some countries, but you know, I think we got to be asleep to prove it, you know, the American dream. So, I mean, look at the American dream. It's, everyone in the chat, hold up your hand if you fucking think you're going to prosper in the future under this economic, military, corporate system, under this fucking super class system where you're the underclass and there's a super class that makes the laws that you gotta obey. You know, you gotta pay taxes and they got write-offs, you know. The only way to beat the system is to cheat the system. So fuck it, fuck them all. Fuck the oligarchs, fuck the Pope, fuck the president, fuck them all. Fuck everything except the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And the people. Don't fuck the people. But yeah, I'm pretty cynical, man. Who benefits? The fucking military-industrial complex benefits and everything that goes with it. And they're fucking injecting the soldiers You know, what was it, CDC, I think, or the FDA said no more injections with the vaccines, but the military is still doing it for some reason. You know, 2 or 3 boosters, even though the FDA came out and said it's really ineffective. It doesn't prevent transmission or infection. But the military is still doing it. It's like, we're addicted to fucking injections, and you guys are our slaves, and we're just gonna they already got. If you join the military, you're already getting 15 different vaccines. You get anthrax vaccine and every fucking thing. I wouldn't join the military for that reason alone.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, if you're going to somewhere where malaria is a thing, you know, you want to get a malaria vaccine. But yeah, I've seen that anthrax vaccine. I mean, we don't see anthrax anywhere in the battlefield. You know, the only place I've seen anthrax used is in our own country.
Yeah, you know, on TV, somebody was holding up a vial of anthrax saying, this is enough to kill a whole city. We have to kill Iraq now.
Yeah.
Who was that? Colin Powell.
Yeah. So this, you know, so they you have to get the anthrax vaccine. The anthrax vaccine, I mean, who the fuck why? You know, it's not a thing on the battlefield. It's this make-believe bullshit that they have sitting on the shelf somewhere. And meanwhile, somebody's making big bucks because they're forcing this, you know, questionable serum on. I've heard of there was this woman that was like a whistleblower, and they made her take the anthrax vaccine, and she wound up in the hospital having like a bunch of seizures, and then she went back and they made her have the anthrax vaccine again, like basically
2 more times.
Yeah.
I saw, and you posted that video about a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a horrible fucking story, and they punished her for speaking out.
Yeah.
And so
they punished her with vaccines. They nearly killed her with vaccines. So all of you, you know, like, oh, we got to get this. You got to think fucking twice. That's what you got to do. I'm not telling you whether you need it or you don't need it. I'm telling you, you need to think twice. Pretty much about everything at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's all a psyop. You know, this whole Ukraine-Russia thing. You know, the whole Trump and collusion with the Russian hacking. They stole the election. Trump stole the election with the help of Russia from Hillary Clinton. She's a heroic woman, served America her whole life. And who was that guy that was crying on TikTok or something, talking about, leave Britney alone? You know, it's like, no, leave Hillary alone. When Hillary dies, they're going to throw parades worldwide for this beacon of peace and freedom and democracy that just died. And she was the greatest woman that ever lived, next to the Virgin Mary. And they're going to sell little plastic statues of Hillary. Or if you don't like her, you can probably buy on the black market bobbleheads of Hillary to put on your dashboard. But don't let the cops see you. They'll pull you over, because Hillary Clinton is America, and Tony Science, he is science. Tony, what's his name? Tony Anthony Fauci. Tony Science Fauci. He is science. So don't argue with your betters, and keep your head down, and just accept the minimum wage, and don't buck the system. And just leave me alone with my steel belted radios and my toaster. You know, I'm not going to take this anymore.
Man, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it when they made such a big deal about McCain dying. You know, they lining the streets with people and like, oh, you know.
Is Kissinger dead yet?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I think he's still kicking, dude.
Maybe
but
not.
They're going to do the same thing with Kissinger when he dies. I think he's still alive. Or maybe you're right. Maybe he's dead.
Yeah, I don't think he's alive anymore. I'll check.
We spaced on the funeral for that peacemonger, Henry Kissinger. I must have just fucking spaced on. I think I was watching Star Trek or something when he died. So, he went off, but they spread, the USS Enterprise spread his ashes all over the galactic system to hopefully see the rest of the universe with its peaceful and truthful nature. The American hero, you know, hell yeah! Fuck. I mean, this is what they do. They take the villains, and when the villains die, they turn them into heroes. They make statues, and they might even make a new holiday, like Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus Day, you know. Like, if we hadn't had all that bullshit about Christopher Columbus Day, we never would have had Columbus Day. And I'm glad they turned that into something else, right? Or did they just get rid of it? They got rid of it, I know that. But
the Google says that Kissinger is still alive and 98 years old.
yeah, well, you wait. Another year, he's going to kick the bucket, and they're going to have parades worldwide for Henry Kissinger, the peacemaker. Fuck. And Hillary Clinton too, man. And Bill Clinton, when he goes, she's going to outlive him, because anybody married to her would want to die right away.
Well, he doesn't look that well. He doesn't look very well, so.
Yeah, well, some people say he's got syphilis, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm just saying he doesn't look very well, you know.
Yeah, it looks like he stuck his nose in the wrong place to me. But
It looks like he's fucking dying from something eating him from the inside. That's what it looks like to me.
yeah, well, George Bush Jr., George W. Bush, he's got better makeup than Bill Clinton. He's dying from the inside too. I think the only thing keeping him alive is the paintings he's making of my pet goat and the planes flying in, and Clinton in a dress. Didn't he do a painting of Bill Clinton in a dress sitting on a couch? Or maybe that was David Bowie. I don't know, but they're all dying from the inside because karma's a bitch and you can't escape. And if you spend your life fucking up planet Earth, I hope there's a hell, a place you can go and apologize on your knees, crawl 10 trillion miles on your knees, kissing.
You don't hope that there's a hell. Trust me.
I know where I'm going, Mike. I know where I'm going.
I know where I'm going too. I'm going
Where
that
you
way.
going, Mike?
Going
Where
that
you
way.
going, Mike?
Going
You
that
going
way.
to YouTube heaven?
Going to that way. Going that way.
Well, I don't know. You know, there's one thing I won't speculate too much on. But Jesus is coming back. I know that much, Mike.
Well, here's what I can tell you. I know that something big is about to happen. Something big is about to happen. It's gonna be like,
Prove it.
huh? You just watch, dude.
It's
Something
gonna be
big.
the same old puppet show.
No, something really big is about to happen, like changing the course of human history. Okay?
Well, I learned today that the whole planet is that we're moving into Pluto, right? And Pluto is the planet of change. So you could be right. So Pluto is catastrophic change initiated by a catastrophe. You know, so maybe you're right. I don't know. I don't follow astrology too much, but yeah, we've been at war with Russia since World War II, dude. I mean, you know that Patton didn't want to stop World War II. He wanted to conquer Germany and then turn directly on Russia and conquer Russia while they were weak, you know. And it's Montgomery, I think, or Eisenhower that stopped him. He was not a very popular general. He was a kick-ass dude, you know. And then the Cold War started. NATO was founded, what, 1949? And they've been fucking with Russia since 1949.
Yeah.
And when Soviet Union fell in 1990, maybe 91, but we'll call it 90, there was a couple years after that, NATO should have disbanded because there was no chance of the Soviet Union reconstituting itself. and it just served as a proxy military arm of the United States government. The whole Bretton Woods in the same year, 1949, I think, changed the economic dynamic from then on, and America was the economic superpower, the industrial superpower, the military superpower, and Russia, as the Cold War started, Russia started collecting all their nukes, and we collected all our nukes, and the whole reason we bombed Nagasaki and Hiroshima was just to show Russia, we will fuck you up if you and the rest of the world, we rule the block. The Emperor Hirohito, as far as I know, had already fucking
surrendered.
Or at least initiated terms of surrender, yeah. So there was no reason to kill all those people in Japan, and America is the bully on the block, and we will screw anybody to maintain our power.
America is the bully on the block is a massive, understatement. We're not the bully on the block. We're the evil on the planet. That's who we are.
Yeah. Well, it's a big fucking chessboard, and you and me, we don't matter. We're not even pawns. We're just like, we're paint scrapings on the chessboard of American imperialism. A pawn would be like a corporation or a politician. Those are pawns. But we got to get back to what America was founded upon, which is individual liberty, the pursuit of happiness, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. So that means, it means everything. It means I got the right to speak anything I want. I have the right to go anywhere I want. I have the right to not pay taxes and not obey your unjust laws. I have the right to bear arms. I have the right to
grow weed. I have the right to grow weed, motherfuckers.
Right. There you go. There's a big one, growing weed. Yeah. And I'll remind everybody, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, all James Madison, they all grew weed.
Yeah.
And they all enjoyed sitting on their porches smoking weed. And they even wrote about it. So, yeah, man, and times have changed. Is the United States already at war with Russia? We've been at war with Russia since World War II at least.
Yeah, no, I heard you the first time. It's a stupid question. I admit it. It's obvious to anybody that there's just never ending, this propaganda about this propaganda war, because propaganda is a war strategy, okay? So this propaganda, never-ending propaganda machine that uses Russia as the big threat, that's clearly war. Any kind of sanctions are war, acts of war. And I'm telling you what really bothers me about what I see in the media about the Ukrainian war is, there's a few things, but this thing where, it's like, this speculation. It's like everything is speculation. It's like it appears this, or, it just like appears all this fucking double speak. Could be Russia, and there's this other stuff, this stuff about the whole sinking of the ships and stuff, right? There's that the Ukrainians aren't using these weapons that can sink a ship. That they're all these like stuff they're saying, they have these anti-tank drones, right? You can't just all of a sudden start flying an anti-tank drone. Okay? It takes a year of study at least. So, you have to come to the realization, the logical realization, that, yeah, it's not just a matter of we're at this cyber war forever. We've had this propaganda war going on. In my opinion, we're in direct war with Russia over this Ukraine thing and all the weapons. There's like Joe Biden just, put in motion an $800 million weapon dump to Ukraine. And I think that's the third or fourth one.
Yeah, he had it was either a $1 or a $3 billion dump a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So this is just a cherry on top of the cake of, because we, as America, we're going to fight for freedom and democracy to the last drop of Ukrainian blood.
Yeah.
We are, man.
Oh my God. There's this character, a DC character called Peacemaker, right? And he's in the Suicide Squad movies, and he got his own series on the HBO Max in the last year, and he's so funny. But in the Suicide Squad movies, he's fucking insane, dude. He's like Peacemaker. That's who he is, right? He's like, I will kill every man, woman, and child that I have to assure peace. It's so much. It's just like this character that I read a bunch of comic books. I cannot remember him. I wasn't real big on the DC, but he's such a great character, dude. And it's just like what you're saying. It's like America can do no wrong, and we'll kill all the children we have to make peace in the world.
You remember during the Gulf War and the build-up to the Gulf War, UN weapons inspector named Scott Ritter, right?
Yeah.
He's been on every motherfucking good channel for the last 2 months, and I find him to be the most eloquent and authentically informed and experienced guy.
Yeah. He is very well informed when it comes to this stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, and you had somebody in your chat, I don't know who he was, but he said last week Mariupol was going to be a world-changing event, and of course Mariupol, the Russians were in Mariupol and then pulled out, and now the Ukrainians are putting out, Ukrainian propaganda ministry is putting out videos of thousands of dead people in the streets. And Scott Ritter pointed out that they're all wearing white armbands. And the white armband means I'm a civilian and I'm ready to go to the humanitarian corridor set up by Russia. And the Ukrainians are saying the Russians massacred these people. All the dead bodies are wearing white armbands. And why would Russia massacre people who are fleeing a war zone and want to come through the Russian humanitarian corridor? So he pointed this out. I find it very credible that it's really a false flag that the Azov battalions and the far-right Ukrainian military is massacring its own civilians, trying to blame it on Russia. And the Americans and everybody else believes it because we're so dim-witted and brainwashed. So that's a very good point he brought up within the last 3 days, and I find that guy to be like the best. He's on every I must have seen him a dozen times already on just different channels, and he'll go on for 3-4 hours at a time, and he's he got kicked out of the weapons inspection program by Madeleine Albright, by the way, who's now dead. Because he was telling the truth
about Iraq. He was telling the truth about Iraq and the weapons of mass destruction and such.
Yeah.
And they fucked with him big time. They did some kind of like, oh, he has illegal porn on his computer or something like that. Which is, I'm telling you, if that shit happens to somebody, especially if it's some high-profile person, understand immediately that the NSA and the CIA is on everybody's computer. So
they did that to Luke Rudowski too.
Yeah.
And he was, because he kept going to the Bilderberg meeting, so tried to stick some porn on his computer. Yeah, they'll do whatever they can do to just, they'll throw you in prison like Julian Assange if you tell the truth.
Yeah.
And so I'm really sorry, but the American government and the CIA especially is not your fucking friend. And I've seen a lot of stuff about that governor. I think it's in Michigan, the female governor.
Yeah.
And the FBI
Plot.
setting up the whole assassination attempt just so they could bust people and, I guess, frame far-right groups and stuff, But it's okay if Black Lives Matter buys a $6 million mansion in Beverly Hills and then burns down half the cities, I mean, I'm not partisan, I'm not left and I'm not right, but I'm just pointing out the insanity of the FBI, the CIA, the FDA.
The corruption, it's not insanity, it's complete and utter corruption to the core.
Yeah. And they are not our friends. And if you can look both ways while you're crossing the street, you can do a double, triple, quadruple take on any news story from any source. And don't make up your mind until you see a preponderance of the evidence, Because as far as I'm concerned, I've been studying fairly hard, and Russia is not the bad guy. America is the bad guy, and you don't have to be a genius to figure that out. And I'm really sorry that...
And it's all being done in your name with your dollars, so...
Yeah, and I'm really sorry about that, because it's not my fault. I'm doing everything...
That's not the way I want it to be, but you have to face facts.
Yeah, and it's a fact that the oligarchs in the United States don't want to lose power, and they certainly don't want the little people, the regular Joe Blow citizen, to get any power.
Yeah.
Keep the minimum wage down, keep the wage slaves.
I gotta take a break, Mike.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to hear from Chris about wage slaves and what we can do.
All right. Have a good weekend. Thanks for calling.
You too, bro. Take care.
Okay, this is about Elon Musk making a move to buy Twitter. I find it a fascinating discussion. Otherwise, I wouldn't waste your time with it.
Oh, this is getting so exciting. Twitter is going to war with Elon Musk. And according to him, the future of free speech could be hanging in the balance. So who comes out on top here? The billionaire spaceman or spaceman, or the woke weirdos in Silicon Valley? As you know, the Tesla CEO last week bought 9.2% of Twitter. Today, he offered to buy the entire ball of wax for $43 billion in cash. That is a major premium on the cost per share, so it's a really good deal for investors. So why the heck does Elon want Twitter so badly? At a TED Talk today in Vancouver, British Columbia, he made his case. Watch. There he is.
Why make that offer? Well, I think it's very important for there to be an inclusive arena for free speech. Twitter has become kind of the de facto town square. It's just really important that people have both the reality and the perception that they are able to speak freely within the bounds of the law.
He claimed it is not about the Benjamins. Watch.
This is not a way to sort of make money, I think it's just that I think my strong intuitive sense is that having a public platform that is maximally trusted and broadly inclusive is extremely important to the future of civilization.
But you've described yourself.
I don't care about the economics at all.
So what happens if his plan doesn't work out?
In this case, you are not successful in, the board does not accept your offer. You've said you won't go higher. Is there a plan B?
There is.
Do you think he was just saying that, kind of freestyling? Of course, this whole thing isn't sitting well with a lot of the Twitterati. One New York journalism professor compared the move to Hitler's takeover of Germany. Now, that's not extreme. And a columnist at the Washington Post said he was frightened by what might happen. Hey, dum-dum, do you know that Jeff Bezos owns your newspaper? But the strongest reaction is coming from Twitter itself. Our corporate cousins at the Wall Street Journal reporting Twitter has a poison pill option. Essentially, they would flood the market with shares to dilute Elon's stake in the company and potentially ruin themselves financially in the process. That seems like a bad move, all to keep Elon Musk from succeeding in his takeover. So how nasty will this fight get, and whose side are you on? Let's talk about it with tonight's Man Panel. We've got the co-host of the Gary and Shannon Show on KFI AM 640 Los Angeles, Gary Hoffman. Yes, Fox News contributor and host of the Richard Fowler Show. There's Richard Fowler. Hi, Richard Fowler. And we've got comic and host of the Part of the Problem podcast, Dave Smith. So many questions for all the men on the panel. Gary, let's start with the financial implications of a $43 billion offer for Twitter. Why on earth would they turn it down? Is it just because it's Elon Musk?
It's 100% because it's Elon Musk. There's no other reason for them to. Twitter is, if you watch what they've done for the last, say, 6 months, 18 months, Twitter is, I think, the beginning of a downward spiral, and nobody likes to be swirling the toilet. I think that whole idea that you mentioned about the potential poison pill option that they've got of flooding the market with their shares, they know that. They know that this thing is at least being exposed for what it is. As somebody who works speaking every day for a living, the arguments, the continued debate over what is free speech, what constitutes free speech, how free speech makes societies better, I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think we all need to be involved in those discussions every single day because it is so important to our democracy. The idea that you mentioned, Max Boot writing for the Washington Post, that he's frightened by this, he's frightened by somebody like Elon Musk putting a premium on freedom of expression and freedom to say things that you want to say. It's ridiculous to me that somebody would say, for a paper whose new tagline is "Democracy dies in darkness," but he's frightened that someone's going to turn more lights on about Twitter and what goes on in Twitter, specifically the algorithm.
Richard, you're not frightened. You bought some Twitter today, didn't you?
I did, and here's the thing: the stock price went down, even though Elon Musk is offering shareholders about a little bit over $50 a share. The stock price dropped almost 11% today, or excuse me, a couple more, a little less than 11%. But it's an interesting move by Elon Musk. I'm here for it. Herein lies the problem, Kennedy. No, according to reports from many different sources, he doesn't have that amount of cash on hand. So he's going to have to go finance that cash to potentially buy Twitter, and we have to wait to see what happens with the board. So there's a lot of unknowns here before we, throw parties and throw confetti at this idea. Let's figure out if the business mechanics are actually there.
Yes, he's the richest man in the world. I'm pretty sure he'll be able to scrape together $43 billion, even if it's just from other billionaires who hate Jeff Bezos. So I want to go back to that Max Boot quote, Dave Smith. This was his full quote. "I am frightened by the impact on society and politics if Elon Musk acquires Twitter. He seems to believe that on social media, anything goes. For democracy to survive, we need more content moderation, not less." Is that what we need for democracy to survive, Dave?
Well, it's really something. This whole thing is really amazing. Like, even if none of this happens, this is just amazing, the spectacle that it's creating, and I hope it all happens, but who knows?
I do
but,
as well.
Right, democracy is so important, and that's why we have to silence people from being able to give their opinions so other people can't hear them. So it's really important that everyone has the right to vote, but we really also don't want them to hear from, say, like the sitting president of the United States or a sitting member of Congress. Those people we want to be kicked off of the platform. But, if I were Max Boot and I had advocated for 7 wars over the last 20 years that had led to millions of innocent people dying and trillions of dollars wasted and nothing but destroyed nations, plus tens of thousands of our own soldiers committing suicide and many wounded and yeah, I'd probably want to silence my opposition as well. What's really amazing about this is that Elon Musk has forced the progressive, neoliberal, and neoconservative establishment to basically say that, yes, they consider the idea of not having control of censorship to be a huge threat to them. And he's also kind of exposed a lot of the more conservative right-wingers who have been saying for a while that actually this is where we deviate from the free market types like myself. We actually need government to come in here and regulate social media in order to solve this problem, which is a very real problem. But all of their proposals for government regulation would just make it worse or not solve it. And here we actually have a potential solution coming from the marketplace. And even if this one doesn't work, who's to say that, you know, Elon Musk and a few of his other billionaire buddies, and there's several of them who also feel the same way he does, maybe they come back with another offer, and maybe this is actually the great solution to online censorship, is that we just need some really rich people who actually believe in free speech to get involved here. This is incredibly exciting.
Who want a proliferation of voices to participate, and not just people who are deemed appropriate by whoever is kind of in power of a social media app or not. But it's not just Twitter where conservatives are getting hosed. Today, the Republican National Committee voted unanimously to withdraw from the Commission on Presidential Debates, accusing the group of bias. Committee Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel is pledging to find fair debate platforms for future Republican nominees. But would Democrats boycott? And could we be looking at a future without presidential debates? Do we really need them, Gary?
I like that discussion. I like that guy at the end. He talking about, you know, Max Boot helping sell like 7-8 wars, and being responsible, or partly, at least in part, for the deaths of millions of innocent people, pushing these unnecessary wars. And not just that, but our own soldiers. How many of our own soldiers died in these unnecessary bullshit wars? Not just in the wars, but coming home and committing suicide. Right? It's like, what, 22, 23 veterans a day commit suicide? You know, and people like Max Boot, like Wolf Blitzer, like Rachel Maddow, all these people help sell the war. You know, Hillary Clinton, all these people who should have stood up against George Bush and Dick Cheney and said this is all a bunch of lies. And instead, they did everything in their power to help make it happen. Helping to kill many innocent people. So many. So, I just think that we could do better. You know what I mean? I think that we could have we could have this empathy, we could care, we could have a much better effect on the world than just creating death and destruction everywhere we go. You know, it's not, I don't think that's working out very well for us. And even worse than that, you know, there's going to be repercussions, you know, there's going to be, you know, it doesn't just go one way. It may take a generation to get back to us where we feel, where people are trying to, you know, somehow, you know, take revenge for their sisters, for their children, for their fathers, you know, for their mothers who died unnecessarily because of our evil empire. So, and that is coming down the road unless we can overcome this bullshit. This is part of the reason why all the politicians have to go to prison, right? Because they're responsible. Like I said, Hillary Clinton should have known better than to side with George W. Bush, right? But that's not what she's about. You know, they're supposed to stand in opposition. You know, oh, well, there's something not to be trusted here that's going on. And everybody was putting out information. Mike was just talking about Scott Ritter, and there was Valerie Plame and her husband, I can't remember his name. He went to Iraq and to Africa to find out about yellow cake uranium, which is not a threat anyways. So the whole thing was bullshit. Everyone knew it was bullshit, and Hillary Clinton knew it was bullshit when she was helping George W. Bush sell it to the American people, directly being responsible for 1 million innocent people's death. So, in your name, that's a big part of the evil, is these people, Hillary Clinton, you know, George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, Barack Obama, Biden. They do this murder, this death and destruction in your name. You know, apparently with your blessings, I would think most of the people around the world look at it that way. So this is why we have to come together. This is why we have to overcome the fucking bullshit labels. This is why we have to recognize the work that needs to be done. And that comes back to this repercussion thing. If we don't take control of our government, if we don't make this cycle of death and destruction end, which is, you know, done in the name of freedom and justice, and truth and the American way. I don't want that to be the American way, to spread death and destruction. You know, you deserve better, I deserve better, the world deserves better. And I don't think it would be that difficult for us to make that happen. So, we just need proper leadership. You know, but that's not good enough for the rest of the world. This is a big part of why we have to hold the people responsible that helped make it happen. George W. Bush, Obama, Hillary Clinton, all the Congress people who voted for war again and again and again, because they knew it's all based on lies. They have the fucking info. They know what's going on. And besides that, they have people that they represent. And those people contact them hundreds, if not thousands, on a daily basis. And they say, what the fuck? You know, and they say, hey, this Iraq war shit, we don't need this. This is going to cost us so much money. How many of our soldiers' deaths are worth this fucking bullshit in Iraq? Saddam is no threat to anybody. He's a goddamn paper tiger, and everyone knows it. But I think this stuff with Elon Musk's Twitter, I really do hope that if he is like what they're saying, this freedom of speech, because you can see how threatened the powers that be are. That's why I played that story, is because they're talking about how dangerous it is to have a free speech, to have a genuine free speech platform. And the only people it's dangerous to are the people who sell us wars of choice based on lies, like Hillary Clinton, like Barack Obama, like Joe Biden, you know, like the people who sell us these wars. You know, because with the free exchange, you know, like the people who force the plague down our throat, who shut down our entire country for whatever reason that still may not be clear to everyone.
Hillary Clinton, like Barack Obama, like Joe Biden.
Is that what my voice sounds like? Whoa.
Sorry, I just had it on so you picked up, brother.
What's up, G?
What's up, big bearded sexy man? Like, I think my 4th time calling in. I think I've been subbed for it. You should, I would hope, recognize my voice by now.
I don't know. I get hundreds and hundreds of callers per show, dude. So
I just wanted to feel special. So I was listening, and then you talked about we need new leadership, and then I thought that was a good topic on something to touch up on. And I have some really good ideas as far as what the next evolution of leadership is. And I'll just get right into it. It's decentralization. So everywhere in history, we've had the centralization of power, and that just has really never worked out unless you go back to ancient Africa when we built the pyramids and had batteries and all kinds of advanced science that was lost through the burning. But what we actually need is a system similar to how Bitcoin runs, on the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two. Bitcoin isn't cryptocurrency. The blockchain is what runs Bitcoin, right? So you can run many things on the blockchain. So what I mean by decentralizing the power is, instead of having one person that we all are forced to trust, we can have a really accountable way and transparent way to have a public vote on all laws, on all rules, all, everything. It's just up for vote instead of anyone, pushing their will on us because they have the power. It's just nobody has the power. We all have the power.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, you know what? We have to try something new because what we're doing now doesn't work. I mean, unless we're willing to actually throw all these motherfuckers in prison. What has to happen if we just ended the party system? It would change. It would completely change the whole elections. Instead of going there to vote for a Republican or a Democrat, you'd be going there to vote for an American. So. Yeah. I think that's a big giant change, but that doesn't work for the powers that be. They like keeping us divided, So unless we all stand up, it's not going to change. Go ahead.
No, you can appreciate it. The powers that be, they rely on one thing, and this is something I've touched on the last couple of calls that I've done. The powers that be rely on one single thing, and that is you, me, everybody being slaves to the dollar that they get to print up willy-nilly and send billions of dollars to ExxonMobil, Raytheon, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Newport News Shipyard, Northrop Grumman, all kinds of CEO groups, civic groups, the GEO group, prison labor company. It's like the system all runs on one thing, money. Because money is as long as there's a profit motive, people will be corrupted. Right? Because money is centralized, meaning it's printed by the Federal Reserve, and they get to print it for themselves, essentially, because we don't control it. So when you have a decentralized currency, that's the how nobody can really take control of that.
I think that the Federal Reserve should be completely illegal. I don't, and people don't even understand that the Federal Reserve is a private company. It's not part of the government. It's a private company,
Not at all.
And they're making money just off of printing money. It's so
Say
funny.
it for the people in the back who can't see it. Say it loud. So exactly right. But it is crazy. I'm a diehard commie, and I used to be the biggest right-wing military cop supporter. They're just doing their job. America, fuck yeah. Well, what happened is I started to question and ask questions, and that's really the superpower, my people. Question everything, and then you will realize, you'll start to see more and more, whoa, hold on. Like I say, question everything. I say, well, why are these for instance, I say these terrorists, quote, and I do that in quotes, right?
Uh-huh.
So these quote terrorists, a lot of people don't realize that there was not a single instance of jihad against Westerns until there was U.S. intervention, meaning, and when Afghanistan was fighting with the Soviets, which I'm pro-Soviet, even though they know this was a bad decision, and they later talked about it was a bad decision, and then it helped bring down the Soviet Union. So they got their asses handed because nobody can defeat guerrillas. The only way to defeat guerrillas is to kill everybody, and that's what America did. But
America didn't win in Afghanistan either.
No,
clearly,
not at all.
yeah,
not at all. not even in Vietnam too.
Yeah,
This was an illegal
right.
war, the
Yeah.
Tonkin affair.
Based on lies. Yeah.
Yeah, you already know, brother. You were there for Desert Storm.
Yeah.
Just like how you said you were semi-pro Saddam, because Saddam wasn't perfect, but...
I wasn't. I'm not pro Saddam. I'm really not pro anybody. What I'm saying, what I was saying, is that Saddam was a paper tiger. He was this stooge that was held up to the world as if he was this big fucking threat, and he was no threat to fucking anybody. He was struggling.
Well, I will say this to your viewers, and I'm sure you know. So what got Saddam to become the enemy is he came out one day and said, I'm no longer selling oil in U.S. dollars, I'm going to sell it in the euro.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the story of Saddam.
Yeah,
right?
that's the same story with Gaddafi also.
Exactly, and Assad, which I was just recently aware of, like that chemical attack never happened.
Yeah.
So when the Afghans were fighting the Soviets, the United States funded, trained, armed, not only with guns, but with explosives training, the nomenclature, everything, the Mujahideen. And then when the Mujahideen won, they took all that power and took over and made these countries right-wing religious extremism, like Iraq, Iran, after the cities were bombed. Then these guys took over because they had all the guns. So the Mujahideen that was funded, trained, and armed, because you got to think about it, first of all, it's the Iran-Contra affair is involved with that, but the Soviets at the time would not be selling all of these guys weapons to kill their brethren. They were hyper semi-nationalists. It just wouldn't really happen. So the Mujahideen turned into Al-Qaeda, just turned into the Taliban, which turned into ISIS. So literally, all of the people have been like taught to think terrorists are bad when the only reason why these guys can go out and recruit people to blow themselves up is because their whole family was killed from a drone strike in a hospital or in their home, just completely mercilessly killed, and no justice was ever found. You know what I'm saying? We have two guys that tried for war crimes, but not the generals and the president like Obama, and I'm a black man, and I hate Obama. So it's not like it's a...
Obama was supposed to be different, you know, and he just did exactly what George Bush did. In fact, he did like 10 times as many drone strikes as George W. Bush did, and he hit wedding parties, and he hit funeral parties, and he hit schools, and he hit hospitals, and all of those things are major war crimes. So Obama was a horrible human being.
Oh yeah, and I think so. A lot of people don't realize that we're in like the semi-beginning, if not further stages of revolution. So it's not going to be on the news. The news isn't going to tell you about all the people organizing against and the Labor Party getting together and the working class getting together. The news isn't going to tell you that. You actually have to be in community, talking with people, or on the right social media. And I say the right, so not right like right wing. I mean like, so TikTok. And I know, every time I bring it up, people laugh and be like, TikTok, that's lame. But the thing is, TikTok is made by China, right? So they don't have a political Democrat-Republican kind of motive. They just want to harvest all of our data like every other company does, right? So TikTok isn't out there pushing right-wing or left-wing, well, I shouldn't say left-wing, but right-wing Republican or right-wing Democrat ideology or politics. They're just letting people really do stuff aside from the blatantism that's on there. So TikTok, you can see a lot of the shit that's going on and see that this movement is brewing, and it's all going to accumulate around the U.S. dollar collapsing, which will happen very soon.
I've been hearing that since 9/11, so I don't hang that threat out to people. But there's a lot of like I said, there's a big price to be paid for what we've been doing over the last 20 years, if not a lot longer than that, and it is coming this way. It's like it's not a matter of it'll come eventually.
I'd say the next election.
Yeah,
we won't have another Democrat or Republican. Not to cut you off on that.
Yeah, no, I sure hope you're right. I mean, that would be pretty awesome,
Let me articulate why this is different than even the '08 crash, right? So the '08 crash was on this big bubble or whatever, and they ended up printing, they told us $7 trillion. Remember, people, none of that went to the people. That went to all those companies I listed, ExxonMobil, Newport News, which makes our aircraft carriers, all this money went to the upper class. It was a wealth transfer. But the thing is, they printed up around $27 trillion, according to the 2010 Freedom of Information Act. The government got sued. So the reason why I say the dollar is going to collapse differently now is because never in history has, even compared to then, has this much money been printed.
Yeah.
So much money has been printed in the last 2 years, wrapped around this pandemic, because you already know this pandemic was bullshit. It was just money printing excuses, just like war is. It's war on the people. So much money has been printed that the bubble, compared to how the people saw that the government could just print us those checks, and everyone's like, wait, this is how easy it is? They can just give us money?
Right.
And why don't they do that? So, and then this pandemic where everybody got pushed into solitude, and a lot of people, and I hate to use this word, woke up. They started to question and educate themselves and realize, hold on, this whole system is a scam. So like me, 2 years ago, pre-pandemic, I would be what you considered a capitalist who thought he was a capitalist but is really a laborer that was pro-capitalism, pro-America. But then I realized we're all being fucked, And so this bubble that's about to collapse is so big that it won't be survivable. It won't be survivable because in '08, they had us all hating Muslims and we were semi-united. I'm listening.
No, I gotta take a break, bro. I just don't like hanging these things over people's head. We don't know what's going to happen.
What are you talking about?
This fear thing. This fear. Right, it is. It is. Okay, again, I've been hearing this, that everything's going to collapse since 2001. Okay, so I'm not, and all I'm saying is, it's like with the fucking plague. People would call and say, we're all going to die. No. And I'm not arguing that it's not going to happen, what you're saying. What I'm saying is I've heard that forever, and I don't want people to be any more afraid than they already are. So
the thing I'm talking about is not a cause for fear.
When you talk about the dollar collapsing, you're talking that terrifies people.
No.
I gotta take a break. I gotta take a break. Okay, it's good to hear from you. Thanks a lot. It's good. I look forward to talking to you soon. Oh, he hung up on me. All right, I'm gonna play another video about Elon Musk trying to take over Twitter. And again, I really enjoyed the conversation, so that's why I am playing these videos for you. I'll be back momentarily. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's always better when you're here. Never forget.
But first, on point tonight, the world's richest man wants to buy Twitter for about $43 billion. Before we get into this, let's clear up a couple of things. Twitter is awful, and Twitter is not real life. Sadly, even if you have never tweeted in your life, it controls a huge part of it. Here's Vince Coglianese, friend of the show, explaining why in stunningly simple terms.
Understand that Twitter as a service has immense influence whether you want it to or not.
Somehow we missed part of his soundbite. All right. Forget for a second Elon Musk's bid to buy Twitter, and let's look at the reaction from the people who rely on Twitter for their power, because it really says everything. For example, the man you're looking at right there, Max Boot. Few people are as Washington swampy as Max Boot. He's an advisor to several Republican presidential campaigns, columnist for The Washington Post, and global affairs analyst for CNN. He is everything that everyone outside of Washington hates about Washington. But he's actually pretty powerful in Washington, for example, because of Twitter. Boot tweeted to his 344,000 followers, "I am frightened by the impact on society and politics if Elon Musk acquires Twitter." He seems to believe that anything on social media, he meaning Musk, believes anything on social media, anything goes. For democracy to survive, we need more content moderation, not less. Content moderation being the preferred verb for censorship. And there it is. Boot is scared. He's scared of content he doesn't like, content that might question or challenge his delicate worldview. He has, as we said, about 344,000 followers. That's roughly 0.1% of the American population. What matters is who those people are. It's a who's who of Washington, an echo chamber where they all decide amongst each other, Republican and Democrat in the same echo chamber, what's important. In other words, who controls Twitter controls the conversation about what happens to the other 99.9% of Americans who are smart enough and have more to do in their lives than to follow Max Boot. Musk offered to buy Twitter for 38% more than it is worth right now. You can see the blue line at the end of the stock screen shooting up. That gives Twitter shareholders a big gain after the stock lost more than half its value this year. Musk would, of course, take over the company after 2 years of controversy for its seemingly arbitrary content moderation, aka silencing the folks that Max Boot hates. Here's Musk today talking about how Twitter should actually look.
And a good sign as to whether there is free speech is someone you don't like allowed to say something you don't like. And if that is the case, then we have free speech.
Yeah, free speech. So why is something so simple, something so American, it's in the Constitution, why is that so threatening to somebody like Max Boot who says that he loves America? Well, here are some of the Washington Post headlines from their editorial pages. Elon Musk is the last person who should take over Twitter. This is the Washington Post. Elon Musk's vision of free speech will be bad for Twitter. Elon Musk's Twitter investment could be bad for free speech. In fact, it is great news for free speech. It's bad news for speech the Washington elite disagrees with and wants to moderate. It's fitting. These headlines, of course, came from the Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos, the second richest man in the world. Think about that for a second. Bezos buys one of America's most influential newspapers, and Washington loves it. Musk wants to buy Twitter, and somehow it has become a threat to democracy. Speaking of democracy, or lack thereof, the head of Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund weighed in. I don't believe that the proposed offer by Elon Musk comes close to the intrinsic value of Twitter, given its growth prospects. Being one of the largest and long-term shareholders of Twitter, I reject this offer. Something to consider. If the Saudis and Washington Post and Max Boot are against something, maybe, just maybe, it is a really good idea. To help us understand if I'm onto something or if the Saudis and Washington Post have this one nailed, Colby Hall, founding editor of Mediaite, Trish Regan, world-renowned business journalist, former trader at Goldman Sachs. You know, I don't know, Trish, you and I have covered Washington for a long time together. I never thought I would see Max Boot, the Saudis, and the Washington Post all on the same page. Kudos to Elon Musk.
Yeah. It's funny how they've all come together on this one. Look, by the way, your monologue was spot on. Excellent points that you made. I've always been of the belief that bad speech is only fixed really by more speech, right? You want the good speech to drown out the bad stuff. You can't actually sit there and say, we're going to regulate this. We don't like your point of view, therefore you're not allowed on. We're not going to listen. Because if you do that, ultimately, I don't think we're any better than the USSR. Back when it was, or Russia today, frankly, these countries that control the narrative. And you run the risk then that everyday Americans really don't trust the establishment. I know folks don't trust the establishment now, but imagine if it was to continue.
Right. No,
in the way
there
that
seems
it's
to be,
been.
This is laying this bare. And the media reaction to it, Colby, I found sort of stunning and shockingly appalling in how bare it has been, because everybody in the media loved Twitter when they banned President Trump because they were doing the right thing. Now somebody who comes in that they don't like, listen to CNN.
So look at some of the polls he posted on Twitter in recent weeks with ideas about converting the headquarters into a homeless shelter and taking the W out of Twitter. He's been having a lot of fun with this at others' expense. Frankly, Jim, at shareholders' expense.
Actually, since Musk has been buying in, the shares of Twitter are way up. What is Brian Stelter so afraid of?
I think Brian Stelter is trying to appeal to an audience that that's dwindling, frankly. I think Brian Stelter is speaking for like the chattering class who, as you said, like love to sort of have their influence over the current construct. That is to say, like what is determined to be passable and acceptable language that is taken advantage of by the chattering class and the sort of East Coast elites. And it's pretty much defined by a Bay Area management team that is, I think, at this point, overly cautious to the degree that it's suspending the Babylon Bee, which is clearly a satirical website, for jokes. And, it is a really tricky thing to figure out what is offensive. And, I don't know exactly what Elon Musk will do. I don't think he's going to allow hate speak. I don't think he's going to allow threats to kill people. But, I think what he will do is he'll allow the pendulum to maybe swing back the other way. And I think Twitter would be more interesting as a result.
Yeah, we can all agree that there's a difference between allowing hate speech and sort of the wild hypocrisy of allowing the Ayatollah to have a Twitter account and President Trump doesn't. There's a big gulf there for Elon Musk if he ends up buying this to get through. I'm interested in this because you, Trish, interestingly enough, had covered Elon Musk back when he was the hero of the left because of Tesla. This was the guy who was bringing electric cars. He was a visionary. Now, all of a sudden, he's a villain. Does this prove that the power of controlling speech is way more important to a certain group of people than the existential threat of our climate change?
Oh, absolutely. For sure. I mean, they also don't like him, keep in mind, Leland, because he won't allow unions, right, in the Tesla shop. So that's been an issue. He continually gets ignored by this administration whenever they're touting electric vehicles. And let's face it, this is the guy that basically created the entire industry. I think that the left really has no use for him right now. He's pushed the envelope too much for them, and they're terrified. They're absolutely terrified. If he's running Twitter, well, then you've got a big counter, right, to the establishment media types. And I agree with Colby. We'll see what he would do, but I don't think it's going to be complete chaos on there. I just think that you're going to have a little bit more bandwidth.
Yeah, you'd actually have social media. You'd have the social media of a real conversation. In a way, he understands, I think, Colby, probably, that liberals aren't any more likely to abandon Twitter than conservatives who've threatened to for years are. It does have this monopoly right now of the echo chamber. It's interesting, though, top followed congressional members on social media, of the top 13 accounts followed on social media, all but 4 are Democrats. Does this have an outsized influence on, say, center-right to fully left part of the spectrum?
I'm not so sure about the influence of Twitter because I think you set it up very well in the intro that it is wildly influential, but also impossibly not that influential all at once, meaning that it's Twitter, it's not real life. And so there are those people who take it very seriously. And what's sort of interesting about Twitter, which I think is kind of to Elon Musk's point, no one wants to go to a social media platform with just like-minded people. There's nothing interesting in that. That's not fun at all. And that's why I think some of these sort of more open-sourced and more conservative-friendly social platforms haven't done that well because the fun part of it is to see the scraps and to see what's kind of over the top.
Yeah.
I will say also,
it's a great point, and I guess in a way it's why Twitter hasn't banned all conservatives, because then it wouldn't be nearly as much fun. Trish, one of the reasons we wanted to have you tonight is sort of to look forward to this. This is as much a culture story as it is a business story, right? There's real dollars and cents here. There's laws. Elon Musk owns a little bit more than 9% of Twitter. He's offering to buy it out for an additional $43 billion. Mark Cuban tweeted, every major tech company, Google, Facebook, is on the phone with their antitrust lawyers asking if they can buy Twitter and get it approved. Twitter's on the phone with their lawyers asking who can be their white knight. Elon may have started this, but his threat to sell his shares if Twitter says no opened the door for those tech giants to walk in for relatively little money, grab huge influence at Twitter, or possibly direct path to acquisition. Elon will smile all the way to the bank. What happens next?
So I think this is going to be very dramatic. Suddenly, business news is going to get really, really interesting. There's lots of things that the board is probably trying to think through, including putting a poison pill in that would prevent Elon from, say, getting more than 10% or 12% or 13% of the company. So that may be one option that they're looking at. Look, the board's job at the end of the day is to get the best price for the company, whatever they believe the company to be worth. So they've got lots of bankers and consultants trying to run the numbers and figure out what is this company worth. Now, if it turns out, it's only worth $45 a share, then, they would look pretty foolish not taking the offer from Elon Musk. And so I think the valuation is going to be important. They've also got to consider who else is out there. Is there any other white knight that's, willing to pony up for Twitter, and would they be willing to pay more? Again, their job is to get the best price and the most value for shareholders. So their life just got really complicated.
Their life got complicated, and to a point, they're going to read about their life. The board will on Twitter. They're also going to hear about it in the media. They'll read about it in the Washington Post and hear about it on CNN and MSNBC. I doubt many of the board of Twitter watches Fox News or watches News Nation. Colby, I got 30 seconds. Is the media going to handle this story even moderately honestly, or is it going to be a rally around keeping Twitter in the hands of people who will keep people that Twitter doesn't like off Twitter?
Well, it depends upon the media. Yeah. I think there are those outlets that will and those that won't. But I think honestly, to sum it up, it's a genius play by Elon Musk, because he admitted today during that TED Talk he may not be able to acquire it. But even if he doesn't, for the cost of filing a Schedule 13D, he's driven up the price. And clearly Twitter is going to react in a way that is going. He's made a big influential play without really buying it. It'd be interesting if he does, but he's already made his influence.
And he's laid bare the truth that if Jeff Bezos, Washington Post, no problem. Carlos Slim, New York Times, no problem. Michael Bloomberg, no problem. Elon Musk buys Twitter and the world explodes. It was a great conversation. Thank you both.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was good to see you. All right. Now on to President Biden.
All right, so we're going to have a bong hit in just a minute because it is Dabs for Donations Friday, and the wonderful Jackie Cat happened to kick down again. I guess not Friday. It's not Friday. Every day is Friday for me. Perma Friday. So we will be having a bong hit momentarily as soon as Jackie Cat gets her brownies in the oven, which I'm so glad to hear that she's making, and I definitely wouldn't want to interrupt that. That is a big priority right there, boys and girls. I'm sorry, my little ninjas, if I don't get my brownies in the oven in time, bad things, man. Bad things. So I find the discussion about well, first off, they were saying Elon's joking about buying the company Twitter and making the headquarters into homeless shelters, or taking the W out of the name. It's no longer Twitter, it's now Titter. He is a funny guy. He's a different kind of guy. I like that. Different works for me, in case you hadn't noticed. Oh, Jackie Cat's back. I love it when that happens. Is everyone ready? Jackie Cat got her brownies in the oven. Good girl. Is it? You wrap the edges with foil? I didn't know that. I have to go look this up now. Wrapping the edges with foil. Is that all the way around the outside? What shall we do now? I'm going to play a video real quick. It lasts about a minute. And then we'll have a big fat cat puff with cat. big fat cat puff, because the wonderful Jackie Cat was so nice as to kick down a little something something for Mox News. We have to do a bong hit in her honor. She deserves so much more. And if you 60 seconds with a hot bong, get ready.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky, some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am?
You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
I do so love that that little clip of video. I do so love that. I haven't played it in a long time because someone was making copyright claims on it. I'm quite certain it was not the copyright owner, and I don't think that they're making copyright claims on it anymore. We'll find out. It wasn't like, you know, they're making me hide the videos, but I don't like it either way. Woo! Hey, buddy. Wow. That was for Jackie Cat, because again, she is so wonderful. And we are so lucky to have her on our team. Thank you so much, Jackie. Oh, by the way, I'm starting, I should say, I started my Skywalker last night. So, I don't know if you started your Skywalker yet, but I started my Skywalker last night. How about you, Wilco? Did you start your Skywalker yet? I also started my four-assed monkey. So I'll be looking forward to that, and I hope you are too, Jackie Cat and Wilco. So we'll see how that does. It looks like it's going to be very, very frosty, but it hasn't even cracked yet. I just dropped it in water. That's all I've done so far. That and prepare a nice place for it to go to work. Oh, Jackie Cat. Thanks again. That dab was for Jackie Cat because it is Dabs for Donations Friday. Not Friday. But it seems like Friday. All right, so all right, so I am really looking forward to seeing if you know, if the Elon Musk thing does pan out, because we desperately need a platform that is truly about freedom of speech. Somebody who's not going to have a problem with boycott, divest, and sanction, right? Because they don't have a problem with boycotting, divesting, and sanctioning Russia. So why should they have a problem with that for anybody else, right? And so much more. There's just so much more, that needs to be said, that's not being said. And this is the whole point of freedom of speech, right? If we are going to have a revolution, if we are going to find some way to come together and change the course that we currently are on, we definitely need our freedom of speech. And apparently the only way we connect these days is through the internet. It's a great way to connect, unless there's censorship. If there's censorship going on, we'll never be able to change the course of human history at this point. But I think it's not over till the fat lady sings, as they say. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike, how's your evening?
It's lovely.
Was it cold there today?
It's a little cold. I go out in the morning barefoot, and the water was cold, but it didn't feel like the air was cold.
Yeah. Like I told you, I saw some snow yesterday, and I went and looked inside of a mullein plant. They have really huge leaves, and it was like a cup of ice in the very bottom of the mullein plant in the melted snow. It's April 13th.
That only means it's going to be a very, very hot summer,
Well, I went back and today I did a little research, and I looked at a Seattle Times article posted October 21st, 2021, and they predicted a cold, wet, long winter back in October, and they were right on the money. And it's the second La Nina year in a row. They predicted high, dry temperatures in California, and it was the driest February on record since 1848 in California. And they predicted all of this precipitation that we've had up here in the Pacific Northwest. So anyway, it's real. I mean, we can appreciate it, but it's still real.
What's real?
It's raining. That we had a cold, wet winter.
Oh, it just means it's going to be hot this summer.
Yeah, it probably will be like it was the previous summer when it was like 115 degree temperature.
Yeah, record-breaking hot.
So first of all, there's a lot of things that you're talking about tonight, but in terms of are we at war with Russia? I think that was one of the questions. Yes. I do, undeniably, we are in a war, or we have a adversarial attitude towards Russia. We've had one for a long time, but it's obviously way more intense, right? So I found this article at BBC today. It says this. It says CIA director will not rule out Russia resorting to nuclear option.
Right.
And this was William Burns, the Central Intelligence Agency director, said that Putin's risk appetite has grown, and that he could become increasingly desperate as the invasion drags on, and then he says that the potential Russian use of low-yield nuclear weapons to offset setbacks in Ukraine cannot be taken lightly.
Man.
Then the BBC says, although there is little practical evidence to reinforce such a concern. And that's what the BBC says, right?
Yeah.
And the CIA director went on to praise the accuracy of American intelligence in Ukraine, which he said was critical in solidifying Western alliance and rallying global support. He added, and this was also ironic, right? He added that democracies can use information gathering openly and creatively to discredit the false narratives of adversaries. And that is straight up censorship and propaganda.
Yeah.
Democracies using information gathering openly and creatively to discredit the false narratives and adversaries. This is at the same time that he's saying that we could have a nuclear war and that Russia's probably going to start it. And I remember this rhetoric about a month ago as well, something similar, that Russia, when pushed up against the wall,
Right.
was going to use nukes, right?
Yeah.
And that just like raises the hair in the back of my neck. I mean, I know your feelings about, it's not going to happen, and I hope you're right. But the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists clock, the one so many minutes to midnight that changes all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if it changed second by second, and that information, like the head of the Central Intelligence Agency said, yeah, Russia might just start a nuclear war next week. The seconds would just like go right off the clock right away. You'd see it move at the same time. It's a setup for like a false flag operation.
It's a great setup for a false flag a perfect setup for a false flag operation.
So all they have to do is go to some place where, whatever, Russia's probably going to win a battle, set off a little backpack nuclear bomb, like a couple kiloton nuclear device or something, atomic weapon, blow up something, and then we see the cloud on television and blame it on the Russians, and that gives them a chance to do a few things. That gives them a chance to first strike. They could do a lot of things at that point in time. Full-on military invasion of Russia, whatever, right? So the fact that this rhetoric is in the mainstream narrative and it's just in your face, this is what the head of the Central Intelligence Agency said today. That's really fucking bad news, Mike.
It's this fear thing, man. You know the fear thing. They can't ratchet it up enough. So this is what they do over and over again, just like they did a month ago, dude. But I hear you. It's set up perfect for a false flag. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
So I'm at like season 3, episode 3 of House of Cards, and Kevin Spacey became president at the beginning of the season that I'm watching. The last episode I just watched is the Russian president visiting the White House for the first time, and the actor in 2014 was, looked exactly like Vladimir Putin, an ex-KGB official, just like Vladimir Putin, and got like a real negative, hostile response from the White House, from Kevin Spacey. And even in the episode on Netflix in 2014, they had the real Pussy Riot demonstrators in the television episode at the White House dinner.
Yeah.
So this anti-Russian sentiment has been in our popular culture for a long time. Like this series I'm watching was made in 2014.
Right.
Right? A House of Cards. So I mean, this even like in this mainstream liberal, and I'm going to say kind of democratic, we're progressive kind of people. This attitude of fuck Russia, they're barbaric. They're like they've got problems. All of this has been emphasized in the minds of the liberals and the Democrats for a long time in popular culture and also in the news and on and on.
This is when people watch the television, right? This is one of the things that they do. They show this propaganda, right? And people get lost in the show. They're like, wow, I wonder if this is what it's real like. And then they show this, Russian propaganda is so evil. And I see that I saw that on the invasion of Iraq. Right? I remember, again, it was my birthday, March 19, 2003, when they started the Shock and Awe campaign. And it was a Sunday night. And they were showing Raiders of the Lost Ark on TV. And I was like, why are they showing this 30-year-old movie on a Sunday night, prime time? And I watched it, and they just totally vilified the Arab people. It showed them working with the Nazis to do evil things, and it was like, oh, look how bad the Arabs are. It's just like you're saying, oh, look how bad the Russians are. And then on that night, that was the night of the Shock and Awe, the beginning of the Shock and Awe. campaign, and
in 2003.
yeah, in 2003. So it's like you're saying that, but the Raiders of the Lost Ark movie was like, again, 20 years old. So it's like he's saying in 2014, before Trump came along, they're setting up this thing in your minds about the way the Russian government is and how evil they are, so that when we get to here, just like with the Raiders of the Lost Ark, when we get to here, it's like, oh, those people are evil. I already know that, you know.
Yeah, and it's across the board. I mean, so like this was from again the World Socialist website, but it was from Tuesday, and this is the first paragraph. It says, on Tuesday, President Joe Biden claimed that Russia was committing genocide in the Ukraine. In a subsequent statement to reporters in Iowa, he added, quote, I called it genocide because it became clearer and clearer that Putin is just trying to wipe out even the idea of being... All right. There's so many problems with that. First of all, it's doublespeak. It's Orwellian doublespeak, right? Because Biden and his administration and the liberal establishment media are trying to wipe out even the idea of being Russian. You play tennis and you're Russian, can't come to our tournament.
Right.
Play the piano and you're Russian, don't show up at a concert hall. If you make salad dressing and you call it Russian, don't fucking sell it in our restaurant. Don't say a goddamn good thing about Russian culture. Russian people are barbaric, right? Yeah, the president says it's becoming clearer and clearer that Putin is trying to wipe out the idea of being Ukrainian. That's the reason it's doublespeak. He's projecting what the United States and its government and its elites are doing to Russians in the United States, as though the Russian people were doing that towards the Ukrainians, right?
Yeah.
It's just bullshit, right? And then the article
it's
says
propaganda. It's setting this idea into your mind, and then letting and adding fear, and then letting the fear run wild inside your head, in your head.
Yeah, that's a great song, and it's appropriate. It also says the United Nations has reported 1,800 civilians killed in Ukraine since the beginning of the war. By contrast, during the Holocaust in the Ukraine, between 1.2 and 1.6 million Jews alone were murdered by the Nazis, right? 1,800 civilians so far in the war in 2 months, and in World War II, 1.6 million people murdered by the Nazis. Now, there's quite a difference between what's going on now in the Ukraine and what happened during the fucking Holocaust. So by using that language of genocide, right, that's an emotionally laden term. And all it is designed to do is to escalate war. And it's so clear that's its purpose.
Right. I see this as a very small skirmish. If the U.S. and NATO hadn't instantly become involved, this would be over. And the Russians wouldn't have captured all the Ukraine. They would have done what they went to do, which was take over this southern area, the Donetsk.
Yeah. Okay. So about Twitter, one of my favorite people in the whole world, Mike, was banned from Twitter yesterday.
Wow.
His name is Pepe Escobar. And I've quoted him on your program before. I know Mike from Southern California has referenced him before. He's an international analyst. He's been writing about politics for 15 or 20 years. He was the one who promoted the idea of Belt Road Initiative and Eurasian integration. He's like the foremost authority on Eurasian integration in the world.
The Belt Road, by the way, is fucking brilliant, and China's going to take over everything because we're too. And they invited us to be part of it, and we're too fucking egotistical to take part in this fucking giant 21st century thing that's going to happen, regardless if we're part of it or not. Sorry, go ahead.
That's fine. He was the one who popularized this idea in the alternative media or press, and like pushed this idea that this is real, it's happening. I've interacted with him a couple of times. on a live chat on YouTube on Danish television with only 5 people watching. It was amazing. I caught it twice, but he's an amazing writer. He uses the English language eloquently, and he fucking says the right things. It makes sense to me, right? His Twitter page was banned yesterday, and he posted what he was banned, what the comment was that was banned. And this is from Twitter to him, Twitter to Pepe Escobar. And they said, you're banned for violating our rules against abuse and harassment. You may not engage in the targeted harassment of the person or incite other people to do so. This includes wishing or hoping that someone experiences physical harm. Okay? And this is what he said. The vast Azovstal underground, that's that big steel complex, complete with 3,000 Azov neo-Nazis, will be disinfected with Schmel, a certified highway to hell thermobaric flamethrower, confirmed by the DPR's Bossarin. Mr. Schmel is extremely chirurgical, which means fire-like, and he takes no prisoners. That's all he wrote. He said that the Russians are serious. They're going to use flamethrowers. They're going to go through that facility, and they're going to fucking kill those Nazis. That's what he said. And for that, he was banned for wishing or hoping that someone experiences physical harm.
These people, you know what? It doesn't matter what they say. It really doesn't. Okay, they have no business having a platform like this and then acting like, oh, well, that's beyond the pale of freedom of speech, because it's not. It's fucking speech. It doesn't hurt anybody. You don't like it, go listen to someone else. Okay, that's the way speech works.
It is how speech works, and I do appreciate what Elon Musk said in the sense that you should be allowed to have a person who doesn't like you say something that you do not like on a public forum, and you have to deal with it. Like, you just can't make it go away. You can't like just freak out about it. It's something that you just have to accept. It's like everybody is entitled to speak their piece, whether they're your ally or enemy, or regardless of what they have to say.
Right. What he's saying is a classic description of freedom of speech, which is freedom of speech is not about protecting speech that you agree with. Okay, he said that word for word. That is not what freedom of speech is. Freedom of speech is about speech that you don't agree with. You know, because that it doesn't matter what you think. Okay, either we have freedom of speech or we don't, and right now we do not, especially in places like social media.
Fair point. So I don't have a Twitter account. All right. The only reason I use Twitter and I follow, I go on Twitter to check out like 4 or 5 different people. Max Blumenthal, Pepe Escobar, Glenn Greenwald, and a few other individuals who are like, if I'm curious about something, I want to know what they're thinking that moment, I'll go to their Twitter page and just read what they have to say. And it has been valuable, for links and references and for different things. And again, I don't really see these people like Scott Ritter and Pepe Escobar. They're analysts. Like, these are people who are analyzing things, and they have information that I don't have. Therefore, I value what they have to say. And when they're not part of my conversation, it bothers me. Like, it highlights how far down the rabbit hole we are. I watched a YouTube program called Truth Stream Media. I don't know if you've ever seen their work before.
It sounds very familiar. It sounds very familiar.
Melissa and their names are Melissa and Aaron Van Dyke, and the 2 white people. I think they may live in Missouri or in Texas, and they've been making videos about technocracy and transhumanism and about the Federal Reserve and many subjects for a long time. But they made a program this week, like in the last 2 days, talking about what you don't see on the internet. And she was saying she did this experiment, right? She typed in like 4 or 5 different terms into Google. Like she used the Super Bowl was one, the name of a pop star was another, an event in history was another. And then she saw how many Google search results there are, right? And it would say like 1.5 million results to the search, right?
Yeah.
And then she would go to the bottom and she'd go down, 20 responses, hit the next page, go down another 20 responses. And she said that she could not get past page 43 on any of them. So you get like to page 25, and then at the bottom of the search results it says, all other search results have been omitted. Repress the button, click the link, and it will show the search without the results omitted. And she does that, and then it says there's only 500 results, not 1.5 million results.
Yeah, you talked about this yesterday.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm being redundant, Mike, but what I mean is like that is disturbing too, because you're not able to get the information that's out there. Like every blog post that mentions something, every discussion that somebody has,
right.
All of that information should be out there, and we should be able to sift through it ourselves as researchers and as citizens to determine what is and isn't fucking real.
Yeah.
Well, Google can, through algorithms, determine what thinks is real.
You're totally cutting out, Chris. You're just totally cutting out.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mike. I'm in a controlled environment. Let me step outside. Here, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if we all have personal algorithms that tell us what is and what isn't true, it's going to make it rather challenging for us to come to some kind of common agreement about what is and what isn't real. We all have unique things that have been designed for us by computers that are all trying to control us. I mean, it's very fucked up, the level of totalitarianism that's going on in this country.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. I hate the idea of it. It's it just becomes it's totally what you're saying. It's totally totalitarian, and it's just so opposite of what we're being told that it is. It's messed up.
So Elon Musk, I don't know how much confidence I have in Elon Musk.
I don't have any confidence in Elon Musk. But I don't have any confidence in Elon Musk, but I have even less in the people that currently run Twitter.
Fair. The richest person in the world, that's somewhat of an egomaniac on any level. He also has contracts with the military, SpaceX, that's military contracting. I mean, he may be saying good things, and if he buys the company, which he has every chance to, it could happen, right? Then I hope that what he said, in terms of free speech becomes policy at Twitter, and but I wish he would say something like, if I control Twitter, all of these dissidents, like Scott Ritter and Pepe Escobar and all the others who've been banned over the last few years, I'll reinstate their accounts. I wish he would say that publicly.
I do
and if
too.
He would,
I think this is just beginning. I think it's just beginning with this. There's going to be a story for the next 2 weeks or so, maybe longer.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, that's Twitter, and I'm glad that there's attention being drawn to the censorship on Twitter. But like I said, I just don't trust any person who's the richest person in the world. I'm kind of glad he's South African, Mike, because he can't run for president.
Yeah. Well.
I'm serious.
Yeah. He's a very, very smart guy. He really is. He knows everything about that SpaceX place. Like, you can ask him anything and he'll tell you everything about it. And won't just tell you, oh, it's this and this. He'll go into this long spiel about what this is all about. And I'm talking about everything at SpaceX. He's a super smart guy.
Well, I think that he has a lot of credibility with conservatives, a lot of credibility with conservatives. Like when I worked at the cannabis farm a year ago, a lot of conservatives that I worked with were all very excited about Elon Musk. It was because of his biography and his image. He's kind of got a macho image, and his independence, like smoking that joint on Joe Rogan.
See, I don't see that either. I don't see macho, and I don't see independence on the Joe Rogan smoking a joint. And I'll tell you why. Because he seems like kind of, I don't get macho. I get almost effeminate. But besides that, the Joe Rogan thing wasn't him being independent, in my opinion. It was him, giving in to peer pressure. Is in the moment. What are people going to think if I don't take a puff of it? And what I mean.
Cool? Am I not cool?
Right. So I think that if it had been me, I would have looked at Joe Rogan and go, "Dude, I don't want your hepatitis C." Put him in his goddamn place, and I would be serious
Fair
too.
Point. Well, the other thing, the reason why I'm a little, again, suspicious is, like, he also owns Tesla. That's his most valuable property. And it's the most valuable auto company in the world. It's an electric car company, right?
Uh-huh.
So he has this mystique amongst people on the right, like I said. But many of those people are also pro-fossil fuels, right? So the more he builds up credibility with the right, the more willing the right will be willing to bend on climate change and adopt transition to a new electric economy. And so, again, what his long-term agenda is, I don't really know. He lives in
Take over the world. It's pretty obvious. He intends on. Yeah. He wakes up every day and says, looks in the mirror and says, "What are we going to do today, Elon?" And he says, "Try and take over the world."
Yeah, well, at least he isn't doing it, I guess, from a $500 million yacht in the Bahamas or something like that, right?
It doesn't seem like that. I don't know what he's doing, honestly, but it doesn't seem like that's what he's doing yet.
And he doesn't really seem to have a lot of connections, like, with the CIA and with the national security state. Like, all those other fuckers, like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Larry Ellison from Oracle, Jeff Zuckerberg. Those are like 4 of the 10 richest people in the world. They all have made their money by having connections with the CIA. Like Jeff Bezos provides cloud services for the CIA.
Right.
Microsoft provides services for the Defense Department. Mark Zuckerberg works for the NSA, determining what people can say and what they can't say, and what they're saying, watching them, what their content is. So on that level, he is kind of outside of the loop. The only thing that, again, I'm cautious about is his military contracts that he has with SpaceX, which is like, America's rocket company. And anyway.
Yeah, well, they're desperately trying to militarize space. You're going to hear a lot of talk about Russia and China militarizing space, and that's the reason we have to militarize space, because militarizing the Earth, every single place we could, has worked out so well for us so far. But there's going to be, everything about space is going to be basically taken over by the military. So if he's going to do space contracts in the U.S., that's just the way it's going to be.
And I think, I'm not in front of a computer screen right now, but I think that Patrick Bellamar in chat mentioned that Musk had some kind of connection with the World Economic Forum, as probably all elites or oligarchs do. But he also, I think, is into transhumanism and this idea of chipping people and artificial intelligence. So that also is part of Musk's program that people need to just realize that he has public opinions about these ideas about where we're moving as a species. And all of these oligarchs do. And frankly, I wish none of them had power, and that they would, the billions of dollars would be redistributed amongst the masses, basically.
We got another caller. It's good to hear from you, Chris.
I'll let you go, Mike.
Okay.
Have a good night. Peace.
Hello, caller.
Yes, Mike, it's that PSYOPs guy.
What's up, G?
How are you? I've been listening a little while for 20 minutes or so. trying to be nice and calm. I've been, am I allowed to say, I've been really pissed off for like the last couple hours. My hand's a little sore because I was just listening to one of your callers there, and he said something about there's so much confusion and misinformation and stuff or something, and I was mad about some other stuff for like the last couple hours, and I thought, I wonder what Mox News is up to. So I thought I'd search and find it. There you are. Then I listened a little while. I turned the volume down. I was making a recording because I was still really mad. And then the guy, I turned up the volume, and the guy's talking, and he says something, oh, it'd be nice to, I don't know, I'm paraphrasing, I'm not quoting that, but he's like, and I'm not mocking anybody, I'm just saying it like the way I do. And so he's like saying something like, oh, somebody's like putting something together to find some common ground. And so I'm like, I'm sitting here, I smack like pound my fist on like 9 binders of like 200 pages each put together with all these rings. I got all my research on my channel. I already predicted this like a decade ago. That's why my fucking name is PSYOP, because everybody's being PSYOP in order to prevent the flat earth shit. Write down the goddamn formula for how it's not a fucking flat earth and how to prove in a court of law or to testify with first-hand knowledge how it's not fucking flat. Because the fucking spies are super smart and the criminals are fucking with your head. So you gotta learn this shit in order to counter them in like a little, I call it the devil's contract. Bet the farm, motherfucker. Let's call Vegas and get a bookie and put your fucking soul and every goddamn penny you got on the fucking line. And we're gonna see, are you a full of shit flat earther, or are you a counterintelligence spy trying to lie to people and convince the children to believe in that shit? Because it seems to be one giant goddamn carnival ride of multi-level marketing mind fuckers. And my problem with being pissed off is because I don't think that's cool. I never thought that my entire fucking, what's the point of joining the fucking military, studying martial arts, learning classical music or Latin or fuck all, when all you gotta do is learn how to talk like a goddamn slimy car salesman bitch.
I agree. I think that these people are all salesmen. I think they talked about that in Apocalypse Now. I think Martin Sheen had some kind of a monologue about the salesmen, about them being salesmen, the politicians.
I'm not aware of that. I don't know if I've seen that movie.
Oh, you don't know if you've seen that movie or not? Apocalypse Now?
I probably haven't seen it then, because I was a kid, and that was back in the Walking Tall, Big Stick movie. That was like 70s. That's the banjo.
It's like 79. It's 79.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a masterpiece, and it's about war, and it's about it's fucking. I mean, Francis Ford Coppola shot 200 hours of film, which is an amazing amount of film, and they spent just all this time, and there's so many stories. There's a documentary made about the movie, and I saw the documentary and the movie back to back on the big screen, and it's just a great movie. If you haven't seen it, I can't recommend it enough.
Oh, I believe you 100%. I know that there's, because I got the feeling like, one of those, like some of John Wayne kind of movies, stuff like that. There's like, I know what you're talking. And then there was another one, I can't remember the name, but it's like a 3-hour, and a lady, this nice older lady mentioned some movie, a war movie or something. It was like 3 hours long, and I went and looked it up, and I found it on the internet or YouTube or something, and I watched it, and I'm like, oh yeah. Anyways, I know it's a very high quality, I'm sure, and I've heard lots about it, and I've seen like maybe the making of kind of thing over the years, and that's Marlon Brando, isn't it?
Yeah, Marlon Brando and Martin Sheen and Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome movie, dude.
When he was young,
Marlon Brando is completely insane in the movie. He plays a crazy colonel, and they said on the set he was just completely insane, and that he would just ramble, and they just put him in character and just let him ramble and filmed it for hours and hours, and then clip. He's the one who talks about them all being salesmen. He's the
yeah,
one.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And what I'm thinking of now is there's two things. One is the movie Network, where there's a scene where Ned Beatty goes on the little thing. Oh, Mr. Beale. You know that scene.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the thing is, for that scene, for me, when I hear that, I hear what's being done now, but it's already been the setup plan. He was talking about one day, Mr. Beale, with a holistic financial system where no man will ever be hungry and everything. And I'm like, it already exists. Somebody's used the money laundering and the coke crap over top of it to pilfer it, get control of it, to siphon it all, sucker everybody, and then pretend to hand out things like it was right, we made it holistic. No, it's already been that way. You got like a crack version, because like what's pissing me off is because I can tell people for years, hey, how do we fix this or how do we do it? I'm an ex-soldier who actually went to the library and looked stuff up, and for like 15 years now, I've been listening to people on the internet, and I've learned this: nobody will go. Your entire planet will fall to aliens, demons, Nazis, zombies, ghosts, goblins, Tinkerbell, evil, Spock. Doesn't matter, because all the answers to save yourself could be at the fucking library. Or I could tell, I've been 3 weeks. What I'm mad about is it's not you, but it's other people. Tonight I tried to tell somebody something or try to share. For 3 weeks, 3 weeks ago, I think it was, I called you, and I tried to share some knowledge with you, but you thought I was trying to promote something, and then we went on for like 18 or 20 minutes or 10 minutes or something, but joking and talking about silly stuff. And I still, for 3 weeks, I found like some kind of thing that might be like the most profound evidence ever, and not. I am so mad. I sat here for 2 hours going, holy fuck, everybody, just what the fuck? Go to fucking hell. I never want to talk to another fuck. Close my channel, shut everything down. I don't want to speak to anybody anymore. I started deleting messages. Don't talk to me. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to know you, because like you're the Titanic.
Look, man, look, everybody's overstressed right now, and you know, if you start going, listen what I'm telling you. If you start going, I hate everything and I hate everyone. No, just listen.
I don't mean that.
No, but I know people who say this all the time. I hate everything and I hate everyone, and you know, that's going to take you to this really negative place completely unnecessarily, because like you're saying, you know that it's not true. So
I'm like, this is totally, I am totally like what people are like, hey, this is just like Orwell or something, or no, like the movie Idiocracy. I am totally like the guy, and people are like, oh, the fucking plant's not growing. I'm like, why don't you put water on it? Oh no, the flat earthers on the internet told us that was a stupid conspiracy theory. Brondo has electrolytes, and I swear, they're finished. You're done. You're all brainwashed, and I can't speak. I don't even know if you can hear me, my words anymore. Not you, but other people. I'm like, for 3 weeks, I found evidence that apparently some Fourth Reich kind of guys came back, and there's a whole crap load of tainted shit, and it's been loaded with the herpes virus, and you're all fucking screwed. And then all of a sudden, there's a mass murder plot that says there's evidence of warfare and $350 billion. All the evidence on a counterintelligence investigation company, organization, agency, fucking website. And I try to tell some girl, I'm a truth and secret thinger, bullshitter. No, you're all fucking full of shit, snake oil gurus or fucking high school kids trying to pretend you're something. Because I'm telling you, go here. Oh, all it has is a page where it wants you to sign in. It's like the fucking, if I go to CIA.gov, and they're like, oh, that's too hard. I'm scared. Well, fuck it, then rot. Like, what the fuck, man? For 3 weeks, all the answers everybody's bitching about. The plebs, holy fuck, wow, man, like, holy, it's just ridiculous. It is the 20th anniversary, or 22 now of 9/11. It's like trying to talk grade 5. For 17 years, my fucking dog tags don't melt in jet fuel. And nobody's been able to answer my 2 grade 5 fucking science questions. So I'm obviously on a continent. Half the people here are apparently fake Catholic nuns that pretend to be fucking Christians, but they just want the title from the natives for the gold, the fucking trees, the rocks, and they'll kill them all when they're fucking done. And apparently that's what's going on again here. And now I'm surrounded by all these fucking, the former residents of this country, all locked up in fucking motel rooms, screaming like Chinese people in their apartment buildings. Oh, all they gotta do is shut it the fuck off, because the Martians aren't attacking. The Borg isn't adapting to fucking hunt you and fucking get you. There's nothing. It's like when years ago, when I was out in another province or the state or whatever nice country, everybody, grown-ups, farmers, men and women that went outside. They didn't sit inside smoking crack and fucking watching cartoons. And they went outside and they could think. And it's not the same. The people, the mentality, it's not the same. It's like if you went to, I don't know, California or like into the Bible Belt, into like some fucking farming community or like a different place that you travel around. Different psychology, different people.
Well, I think the screen time is like kind of lobotomizing people's brain.
Oh, it's finished.
You know,
the military told me to not watch TV, and for like 2 years after I got out of the military, until like '95, I did not watch TV. I watched one show in I think '95 or something, '96. A couple shows, Star Trek Voyager, and then later, and then Nowhere Man in '95, '96 or something. And then I stopped watching the TV, and sometimes I would watch one channel, this intelligence kind of whatever channel, and it had less commercials. But if I fell asleep and some other weird program came on, I'd start having nightmares because I knew it was putting shit in my head while I was sleeping.
Yeah.
I'd start to be like, I never want to watch that show.
I try and tell people.
I never learned.
I try and tell people, like some people sleep with the news on, you know, and that's just really a bad idea. You do not want to go to sleep. Yeah, you do not want to.
I can right now. I phoned. I'm not trying to talk shit or talk whatever, but I phoned a major mainstream news company. I was going to say that, but who cares? It's not about that. And I was like, I woke up one day. I smoked some good weed or something one day, fell asleep, listened to some Logic book or some audio book before I went to fucking took a nap. Then I woke up with like Logic buzzing in my head and the angry of like I want to, you know, clear the cobwebs or something. And I just phoned up some news agent. I was like, wow, you know what? You're full of crap. You're a cult. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, you're like the Church of Scientology. You're obviously just you're manipulating people's heads, and you'll never do anything past like grade 8. And I know right now, I just woke up and popped into my head 5 things on a list I could write down where I could go to the public library and find something that none of your news channels, fucking 20 years of my life, I'm 50-some years old now, whatever, 20 years, I don't know, I was 12, so more than that, 12 years old. From 12 years old, I waited until like the Big Bang Theory and the TV show and the song saying that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. But when I was 12 years old, the people on the news thought the fucking Earth was 6,000 years old. Guess what I learned later on growing up? No, they don't. They're fucking with the audience. Because the audience is stupid and they're superstitious and they believe in a multitude of different gods. And so they play to every fucking card on the table. They don't appeal to one god specifically. They pretend to appeal to all your gods. So they're complete sociopaths because they cannot. You can pin them. This is what people. I don't believe in gods. I don't believe in demons. I don't believe in aliens. It doesn't matter. You erase them all from the equation or add them all to the equation. Maybe it's a demon, but the same. It's talking just like Loki, and nobody can hear it. That's why my name is Saya. When I shut off the TV, I couldn't figure out what they're doing or how they're doing it. Then I listened. One guy years ago, he made a video. He took a 2-minute segment from the news, and it took him 25 minutes to explain all the brainwashing tactics in that 2-minute segment from the TV set. And then I started studying logical fallacy. Then I went on the internet and tried to tell people about logical fallacy, and the trolls come out and say, hey, you ever heard the trivium and the quadrivium? Watch out for cognitive dissonance. But nobody looks shit up. I'm the guy that looks it up. I can listen. There's 3 guys. One of them died, I think. One guy I was complaining and whining about for like 6 months, and he went from 35,000 subscribers to 90,000 subscribers. My mistake is I didn't become like he claims. He's the chief postal clerk of the United States, and so does the other guy. And there's another guy claiming to be Jesus. and another guy dressing up like the Pharaoh, and another guy dressing up like Napoleon, and they all get like 50,000 fucking subscribers overnight and make shitloads of fucking money. But if I go to the library and say, no, Nibiru is not a space alien, and no, it's not some fucking race behind the fucking moon or Venus or whatever fucking you told, or the Loch Ness Monster or crop circle, because I went to the library and looked it up, and apparently it's two stars crossing, signaling the spring equinox from Sumerian and Babylonian fucking astronomy. But nobody will look shit up, and I'm the guy that's apparently the idiot and the asshole, and you're saying don't be mad or don't give up. Because what's the point? Because if I just make shit up, apparently I just go along with it. Hey, the Martians are attacking, and I will sell a fucking million fucking rice patties. But if I try to tell them it's astronomy, I know it's really boring and whatever, but it's just astronomy, and there's no space aliens, and Anu is the sky god, and Aki is the spirit.
Do you believe that there's no space aliens?
I don't care. It's not irrelevant.
Okay.
Produce a unicorn. Summon the fucking devil, or the son of a bitch can kiss my ass. Bring the fucking alien here. Show me evidence, because you can speculate about unicorns and leprechauns all fucking day long. And there's entire histories built on the fucking 9 layers of hell and what the fucking angel's favorite sandwich is, and the history of the fucking elves. But none of it's real. And it doesn't fucking matter if it's real, because you can't produce the evidence. I don't doubt the existence. I'm 50-some years, 12 years old, laying on the fucking hood of a car staring at the stars. We already figured this shit out. There's some what's the formula? The mathematical fucking formula. I can't remember the name right now. I just listened to scientists talking about it the other day. Of course, the mathematical odds and everything. It's already been figured out. There's fucking, who cares if there's life somewhere else? You ain't going anywhere. They ain't coming here. Fuck your science fiction wormholes and your magic. Grow up. How do you get fucking clean water?
I agree. That's true. I talk about clean water all the fucking time.
They're not in the real world. The squirrel is not suffering from a supply chain crisis. The fish in the fucking lake over there are fine. The pigeons are fine. The monkey is sitting on the fucking concrete with a cardboard sign going, hungry, please help. Because it fucking has been castrated and domesticated after 350 years of fucking England beating the fucking kute out of it and telling it it's not allowed to pick its own goddamn banana. Then it has to get its fucking banana from the cart that they're selling it from, and they have to pay a tax. That's the fucking reason that your nation was formed. To put an end to that shit. There is not a berry bush or a fruit tree anywhere out where I am, because I already know if I went outside and planted a fucking apple seed, a safari hat wearing fucking albino from England would come and cut the fucker down. I'm Irish, apparently, and my bloodline, they stole my fucking potatoes and tried to wipe my kind out. I ain't got no problem with the English. I'm just talking mythological, allegorical, bullshit history that we all hear, like ostriches putting their heads in the sand. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm trying to show the lesson of what the fuck was supposed to be learned by your children will wake up as slaves on the land that your forefathers took. What the fuck? And I'm watching it happen.
I hear you. I talk about the same thing all the time.
That is. Puny banner.
What's the name of your YouTube page?
Well, mine is another deal entirely. The one I was talking about was some national counterintelligence organization. So it's instead of like the show NCIS, there's apparently one called NCIO. But there's a few different organizations that use those letters. And so it was the dot followed by Charlie Alpha, that I will say, because my life is apparently in danger, because the place that I'm at seems to be being infiltrated by shitloads of like Russian spies and Chinese fucking transnational gang stalking manipulator criminals, and there's no fucking supply chain crisis for heroin, smokes, and booze for all the fucking peasants. No offense. They're not peasants, they're humans. I just like to say that to make references to historical things, you know what I mean? I see people walking around the castle with picket signs. It's no different than a peasant that's walking around the castle, or a hungry cat walking around the castle. It doesn't know how to read a law book to make contract with the devil for its own soul, and the devil has to obey contract law. Whether or not there's a devil, it doesn't matter. The moral of the story. Do you believe in the devil? Doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It could be 100%. See the logical fallacy. People talk. I'm the guy. I hear the people on the internet talk about cognitive dissonance. They never go, or whatever, or the trivium and the quadrivium, and do your due diligence. I've been there and watched this all, and I've watched the fucking 1,000 gurus come and go, and 15 minutes of fame for like the last 15 years. And I'm the guy that goes up and looks up what's the trivium and the quadrivium. Oh, it's grammar, logic, and rhetoric. And grammar is what pronouns. And so when anybody, what's pronoun? Call me by my pronoun or whatever. Hey, what's a pronoun? Just do that. What's grammar? They're fucking retarded. And they can't do grammar. They can't discuss grammar. They don't even know how to fucking a period or question mark is. It's the same. Talk about the climate, just go. They're all brainwashed and retarded. Just go, what's photosynthesis? And the deer in headlights, gone. What's the, I don't know. I already got a video years ago about the Earth or something. If you go traveling in space, where's the Earth when you come back? It's not there. It moved. When you fly away and go off into fucking visit the Planet of the Apes, and you come back, the Earth ain't there anymore. It's fucking 1,000,000 fucking miles gone or more. Somewhere else. It's not in the same spot that it floats through space. So you got to really know. The guy that did a video on YouTube about the trajectories and the mathematics and the fucking, it's all fantasy. But it's fucking inertial dampers. Fuck, if you going fucking warp 6 and then coming to a sudden stop, like fuck. Like fuck your head. Or it's called suspension of disbelief. You're in brainwashing land. They have put you in Disney fucking magic land where you think that Bugs Bunny can jump out of the fucking airplane before it hits the ground and he's okay. You think that physics isn't real and magic is real. And there's such thing as magic bullets and steel beams that can melt in jet fuel. You think that Superman can fly. We can't. None of this is real. But most people are living in some world where they think there's magic and miracles and fantasy because they've been raised on this shit. And in the fake world, they don't know what winter solstice is. They think it's a conspiracy theory. Astronomy, how to tell time with a stick. They don't know. I've been making jokes about I want to shame some men around me, so I make jokes on the internet or whatever about there is a woman that was a Neanderthal female, not even of our own species, from like 300,000 years ago or something, and she knew more about which berries were poisonous and which ones weren't, and knew more about survival, how to make fucking shoes, how to get water, anything, than any fucking man around me where I am currently located. There is not a fucking thing other than the one old guy that might be able to teach me how to rewire a microwave or fix a radio. There's nothing.
Everything changed.
No military.
Everything changed when we went from hunter-gatherers to growing our own food. It made us a sedentary people, and as opposed to people who would move around to get their.
Amber waves of grain. I'm not from there, but I wish I was. But you're in everything. I hear the stuff. I hear in the song, like the amber waves of grain, the fields of this. There's not This one is England, where they chop all that shit down. That's why you went left there. Got amber waves of grain, growing trees, and fucking plants and corn and bananas. But no, out here, nothing dead. All dead plants. When I was a kid, there was pear trees, apple trees, berry bushes, walk home from school, eat. Have you ever heard the phrase "apple a day keeps the doctor away"? In the last 5 years, does it even exist anymore? Am I allowed to say that, or will the Chinese troops come and put me in the chair and make me stay home?
They might make you get vaccinated or something, but I don't. If I did hear that phrase, I think it was. I think it was on some kind of a. It was some kind of an advertisement. Otherwise, no, you don't hear that phrase anymore.
Weaker people than me are going to do something to me against my will because they think it's for my own health, but they don't know fuck all about Tai Chi. They could walk from one end of the fucking continent to the Western Ocean, wherever you are. I don't know, I'm on the east. Let's walk from one end of the continent, from the east to the west, or from the west to the east. And before your fucking gods in evolution, let's see who drops first and who your fucking gods choose. Whoever thinks that they're going to stick a fucking anything in me, or that maybe I already got fucking 18 goddamn whatever, and I eat apples and oranges and fruits and vegetables, and maybe my DNA is better than theirs, and they should shut the fuck up. And why are they dead? And I wish everyone love and peace and happiness, but mathematically, a fucking virus should have wiped them out 800 days ago. And I should be the only one left on the planet now.
And wouldn't that be a much better world?
Well, you know, I don't know about that. Who knows? But at least I wouldn't have to listen to the fucking retarded shit from weak fucking cunt monkeys that don't know how to go outside and can't roll. They're weak. What the fuck? Is the Princess Bride been banned now? Because the guy ingested a little bit of poison every day to make him stronger. I watched The Bubble Boy when I was a kid, and the guy lived in a plastic bubble because he was weakened, and you have to go outside. The Vikings used to throw the baby out in a fucking winter forest or something, and if it died, it wasn't strong enough. I'm not calling for extreme measures like that, but I'm saying, like, no, I thought we were all equal, but apparently it turns out that I'm like 1 in a million, and I'm the dominant fucking species. And I've been surrounded by like the lowest forms of fucking crackhead, inbred, cottage cheese, 400 pound, the fucking fox, the piranha, the alligator, the bear, would eat them all first. I don't even have to run. I can walk. They can't keep up. They'd be eaten first. The idiots, crack, drunk, everything. The fuck? No rice at the grocery store, but any fucking person that wants crack or fentanyl, apparently they can get all they want. And then whatever.
Tell me more about the Princess Bride. I don't know what you were talking about. Is it banned now?
Oh, the movie. Yeah, there was a movie called The Princess Bride.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, it is a really great movie. But the prince guy, he was ingesting a little bit of poison. And the other guy too. There was a little guy, a shorter little person, and he talked with a rough voice. He was bald, kind of.
Yeah.
He was playing cards, chess or something.
Inconceivable.
Yeah, inconceivable. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, inconceivable. That guy, and he was like, "Oh well, I ingest a little bit of poison every day."
But the movie's now banned, or you're not? You know, I mean, it's got.
No, I was saying the act of, because I actually had an allergy to some fruit or nut or berry or something when I was a younger child, and I didn't know that, and neither did my mother. And she went berry picking one day and bought like big baskets of berries and stuff, and left me alone in like a room with them for a while. And I ate like a whole basket of berries and broke out into some allergic reaction with hives all over my body. I had to go to the hospital, but I shocked my immune system so much that I developed an immunity against the fucking thing that I was allergic to. And so the point is that there's this thing that we have that people are afraid to talk about for like the last fucking 2 years of an immune system. And I'm an ex-soldier. They put shots in me. Whatever the fuck. Put your fucking virus in my blood and then use my blood as an antidote, because I will process the fucking shit like a Borg, and I will assimilate it and shit it out. And I will develop antibodies and immune responses, and I am now immune. So it can go fuck itself. And so what the fuck is your problem, delusional monkeys that should be studying first year virology? You've never been outside. Go rub your hands in the dirt. It makes you stronger.
I agree. I talk to people all the time. I tell them that kids who grow up with dogs have stronger immunity systems. There's been a lot of studies that have been done on this. And it's because dogs roll around in the dirt and stuff.
Yeah. Here it is. I put together some paperwork and I wrote this down. I took a screenshot or a picture and then a screenshot, and I copied this and I wrote it down, and it's in tiny print, and I want to make sure that I never lose it. But 2 years ago, I found this on the internet and I wrote it down, and it was from some girl who wrote it. She was raised on. It's just a little paragraph, and I actually was looking at it because I'm sorting all these papers, trying to put together my project. The guy was like, "Wouldn't it be nice if somebody put together all the answers?" Like, that's the whole point of my project Primate, which is, by the way, my channel is PsyOps Agent, which is, but I like PsyOps Agent, but I spell it with a 0 instead of an O.
And that's
so
your
the main
YouTube page, right? PsyOps Agent.
Yeah. That's my name, my YouTube page, and my Skype channel, or whatever, everything. But that's, I wasn't trying to do anything about that. But here, Rose Smith. I was always told by doctors that you're infectious if you have a fever and are actually sick. Funny they made up that you are infectious simply because you have some virus floating around your system. We all have viruses in our system. It doesn't mean that anything, and it doesn't mean you anything. Your body destroys it and gets rid of it. Virus and bacteria are all around it. You only get infected if your immune system is compromised due to excessive stress, malnutrition, hence why the Spanish flu was so devastating, because of the malnutrition. During the war, food was scarce, food rationing, lack of sunlight, and fear. Lack of sunlight, vitamin D. The fuck? I'm going, for 2 years, I'm like, you civilians are suffering mass hysteria. Shut the fuck up, civilian. Go outside in the sunshine. And practice your Qigong breathing technique. Breathe 2 inches below your navel. Draw your diaphragm. Pull in more lung and oxygen into your blood. Take the fucking climb a tree, kid. Let's do some stretching or whatever. No, nothing. Sit still. It's the worst fucking shit. And then, especially psychologically, to put someone to sit still for 26 days will drive them insane. And then to put them in 30 days or more in isolation or confinement without direct contact with the outside world, their body switches to like a 36-hour fucking cycle. So that this is all fucking people. I'm an amateur. Who the fuck? What the fuck? Who the fuck? Get away from my kids, you pervert, fucking rapist, killers. You choking the fuck out of them and weakening the fuck out of them. They're all dying and stupid as fuck now. And the whole fucking generation for the next 15 years is finished. Why the fuck did I even go to fucking military? Why the fuck did they teach me this? Like, whatever. Anyways, yeah, sorry. Malnutrition, fear, lack of sunlight. But fuck. Yeah, and fear. Because fear weakens the immune system. That's what the military taught me. That's what the fuck they told me when you got an eye. Don't have eyes on the fucking billboards. Your subconscious primate reptilian brain perceives that as a predator. And it switches your body into fight or flight mode, which shuts down your immune response. Hey, I don't know. Is it raining or not? Because I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist, so I guess I can't make a decision on my own. You get that joke? That's about what's a woman.
A woman?
Oh, what the fuck are you? If anybody even asked you? Really? If there's a meme quote. Is it raining? I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. Is there any such thing as a woman? I don't know. I'm not a biologist. So I guess that's me. That was me, fucking psyops from next to I started the flat earth thing by mistake. By trying to tell someone you can't go to court and testify that you have first-hand knowledge. Well, I know what I know. There was a drunk guy having a nervous breakdown in a bar and all that. We're fucking 10 years ago. And he's like, I know what I know. I know what I'm like, yeah, but you can't prove it. Neither can I. You know, but I know what I know. I'm like, yeah, but there's going to be a bunch of fucking cult people that come out and flat earth people can just gang up on you. And they all got a convincing argument. And if you're trapped in fucking like other, whatever town or something, you got to be able to prove it. And so I had to go look it up. And then all of a sudden it comes out on the internet. So I think I may have created that. And the girl goes on here, just last sentence. It all contributed to high numbers, not to mention most outbreaks seem to happen in colder climates or something like that. And so something about that, I think there was another one. She went outside, rubbed her hands in the dirt. That's not the part. There was more to it somewhere else, I did. I thought that was the one. She was like, no, we used to drop the food outside on the ground and then just pick it up and brush it off and eat it. It's not, it's like cleaner outside than it is on the floor in your house. The air inside is stale. Yeah, the air inside is stale. The fucking wow, man. Why did I learn Tai Chi? I don't even know the full 108 moves. There's another thing, numbers. People don't understand numbers. I hear 72 genders. I'm thinking, wow, did you know that at 72 years of age, there's the second bar mitzvah for the Jewish person? Did you know that at 72 degrees of the arcs of the movement of the sun is where it originates from? How about the 72 fucking virgins when you die? Or there's another one, 72 something else. All these numbers. They tell you it's, oh, that's just a coincidence, just a conspiracy theory. No, there's occult stuff. The deck of cards, the numbers add up to 365. That's how many days are in a year. Wow, what a coincidence, eh? Must be. No, what holy numbers? 7, 12, 40, 72, 108. All these numbers, they appear so many times. I wonder what they mean. That fucking means that you never went past high school and studied astronomy to know, hey, there's 7 fucking days in a week, and the planet spins counterclockwise. And that's why the Muslims walk counterclockwise around the black Saturnian cube 7 fucking times. But hey, I'm the only one that goes and studies the shit, and everybody else believes in magic and fairies. I'm the guy that understood the allegory of and it's allegory for ears to hear and eyes to see. So when a rib was removed from one atom or whatever and put, it means you take the XX chromosome. Somebody had scientific knowledge back then. They became so smart, they put it into allegorical stories. And so how do you get King Arthur taking the sword from the stone? No. It's about heating up the rock till the metals bleed out of it and then fucking forging that into a sword. That's the knowledge that makes a king. The knowledge of taking the X from the one rib from the XX chromosome and it turns into an XY chromosome. That's the myth. That's the science behind the allegorical mythological story. The Venus and Mars sleeping with each other and Vulcan, the husband, being mad. They're not real people. They're not gods. They didn't exist. It's an allegorical chemical formula. Venus is iron, Mars is copper, and Vulcan was the act of blacksmithing the two together. But for me, the civilians or the Roman citizens, they run outside. Hey, did you hear? Or the news channels. Was Vulcan justified in beating Venus and Mars in the net over the fire? But no, because it's about metallurgy. But the peasants talk about the Da Vinci fucking magic. Oh, what is 666? It's the fucking 66.6 degrees because the Earth sits at the right hand of the Father, or Ra, which is the sun god, a right ascension, and it sits at 23.4 degrees. And when you minus it from the god El, the holy number 7L, you get 66.6 degrees that used to point to the North Star 5,000 years ago, which was Draco, the beast. And so I've been studying these occult books, and apparently these people have really superior fucking knowledge, and they're screwing with everybody's head. So the 108 Tai Chi moves, 108 fucking associated with the moon. 108 rosary beads, 108 fucking cycles of the moon or something like this. All figured out by the cavemen. I got all the research. There's something called the Derveni papyrus. There's some other stuff. Google Biblios-Heliotext. It tells you from the Latin and the Greek, meaning an allegorical book on the movements of the sun. So if I can go look at the fuck up at the library or using all this stuff, and I got 6,000 pages of stuff for the last 15 years. I call it Primates Remedially Intricate Manual of Ape Training and Education. And the letters spell primate. And months or years ago, I mentioned to you how I got no ability to, you said you get your buddy, is a great idea, sell a PSYOP sweater so you too can have the feeling of pulling the wool over your own eyes. Because you've all been PSYOP. You've all been Laden. That's another one of my little things. You've been Laden with Bin Laden. And Bin Laden means to hold back understanding in time and space. Binah is the third sephirot on the Jewish Kabbalah, and it controls understanding in time and space, and it is ruled by the planet Saturn. Now I know nobody knows all this, and I know I sound like Woody Harrelson in Armageddon or something. It's like, and I know I'm in that panic mode, and nobody gets all this shit. But I've been studying this for years. I know, whatever, who cares? I don't know. Anyways, there's so much more. There's language codes, and it's built right in. England did this. They created fucking language. You come over here. When the people are speaking, I hear two things now. I can almost see the Matrix code. I hear two things. They're speaking in a code, and you don't even hear it. And England's been fucking for like 300 years. Because there's no such thing. Okay, maybe there's a devil, but maybe there's a demon. But I know other things because I study this stuff. So there's names of it. Mephistopheles, Asmodeus, Beelzebub. One's the mocking, one's the real name, one's pissing on his name. Right? One, Beelzebub apparently is the real name, but they call him Beelzebub because it's like making fun of him. or something. But you have to understand the etymology of things in order to know that, oh, wow, well, I'm sure in the medieval dark ages that was a really funny insult, but, like, who gives a fuck now? Right? Asmodeus, all the names, whatever. Satan means pie. When I hear someone talking about Satan, I see 3.1415, and I know that somebody's fucking with somebody else, and that somebody claims to be a satanic cult. I know that they're either really a hyperdimensional mathematical cult pretending to be evil and hiding sacred knowledge, or they're just a bunch of fucking idiots that think they know what Satan is and they're stupid and they've been tricked. And there's like multiple versions of different cults. And then whatever, and the word Lucifer means pie, same as the word Satan. And I've known this now for like fucking 17 years. I've traveled across from coast to coast 16 times, back and forth, and I've been to 25 at least different towns. And I've done science experiments where I've just tried to randomly go, here, watch this on a bar napkin. I fucked up a whole town one night getting drunk and writing secret fucking occult code shit on a bar napkin. Fuck. Really? And like, and no, I don't know. Satan means pie. Lucifer means pie. But nobody. I went on 8 months ago on the internet, tried to be like, hey, we went in some chat room on YouTube. 4 guys all trying to talk smart stuff. Let's figure stuff out. Oh, here I got this code thing, and Satan means pie. Oh, you evil Satan worshiper, we'll burn you in hell. Fucking curse you to hell. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't do anything. I'm trying to. Oh, you fucking evil, you're fucking cursed by Satan. I get burned at the stake, he's a witch. All this shit. Anyways, that's my life. That's the stuff I've been studying. I've been figuring this stuff out. I got all the answers. And then I was already flipping out because I'm trying to tell some people for 3 weeks. Guy's got a live call-in show, not like you, but he's like you, but he doesn't have a call-in show. He just goes live, and he talks and he giggles like a fucking little girl. And he just yaps for hours and makes no sense about fuck all, can't look shit up. It's like he's like 40 years old, but he seems like he's 12. Got his first time trying to pretend he's a fucking reporter or something. I don't know what the hell's going on. But it's a joke. And for 3 weeks ago, I'm like, hey, buddy, and I'm typing messages, and he's giggling and laughing, and like nobody, I don't know, maybe because I'm living in China, and maybe because half the shit, I'm going to cancel my fucking subscription to YouTube. So listen up, YouTube and Siri and everybody else. Because fuck your $11.99 a month. Because I'm sick of fucking seeing view reply, I click it, and it's blocked. Or whatever. Because then the fucking shit that used to be available in 3 countries or something, I can, whatever. I might as well, what the fuck, where this place is, keep it. If it's a fucking, I heard some lady from another place on the planet Earth claiming that she owned where I'm living now. So what the fuck am I going to bother staying here for? There ain't no soldiers left. There ain't nobody else left. I don't know who anybody is anymore. If it's just somebody, fuck, everywhere I phone, there's like 12-year-olds answering the phone like I'm calling the fucking time machine, and it's 1942 fucking Germany. And nobody can do fuck all because they're just doing their job.
Oh, you mean when you call it the networks and stuff?
Well, yeah, but it's different. Like okay, if I called my bank, I get maybe somebody from the Philippines or somebody from Colombia or somebody from somewhere else, who knows.
All right.
If I call anywhere in the United States, if I call Amazon and get somebody in Colombia or somebody, I don't know wherever else, every one of them totally different. If I call anyone in my own geographical region, especially this location, this little state, province, whatever that I'm in, it's nothing but little kids and fucking twisted little socialist, sociopathic, fucking money laundering, drug dealing cunts. Excuse my language. Man or woman. It's all fucking little sociopaths. There was 2 girls, 20 years old. This was 4 years ago. I was 48 years old or something. These 2 20-year-old fucking socialists, whatever, they're all criminals. They keep calling everybody. I got my Skype number. It's an American number, but I'm not in America. But I had it rang last month, and this guy was like, I'm with the Homeland Security and the FBI number. You got a package from Amazon and the Border Patrol, and you want your Social Security number, blah, blah, blah. You better give us this now. We're coming to get you. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you think I'm in America, don't you? And he's like, oh, yeah, sir, we're coming. You better give us your Social Security number. You think I got a Social Security number, eh? Oh, yeah, you do, and you better give it to us. Well, I don't have one of those, and I'm not in America. and you don't know where I am on planet Earth, you better shut your mouth, boy. Whatever. No, we're gonna get you. Ain't gonna do shit, buddy. Because whatever. Anyways, I knew it was but I don't own a phone because I can't tell. You can go to any government website, and at the very bottom of the page, there's a warning saying that there's some foreign corporation pretending to be every branch of the government here. And I asked a question a couple of months ago, or a year ago, at what point as a former soldier will I not be able to tell the difference? And nobody can answer my question. So whatever they claim that this geographical region on planet Earth is, I'm on planet Earth. I don't know where the fuck part of Kansas they think they're living in. This ain't whatever. This is everyone that I knew is dead and been replaced by somebody else. This is got some other plan.
This is through the rain. This is through the rainbow, dude. I mean, through the looking glass. It's crazy world.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's crazy. You gotta give people a little bit of a break because in Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter said, "We're all mad. We're all mad here." And it's not necessarily everybody's fault. You know what I mean? It's there's a whole lot of extenuating circumstances.
And that's why I'm trying to write my little thing called Primate. The primates remedially intricate. Remedially intricate means to rebuild a foundation. Because in one of my playlists called Kemet, there's a guy named Ashra Kwesi, and he takes people on a tour in ancient Egypt, and he explains how they've been lied to. And he talks about how it's very important to build a foundation of support in the storyline, like in their false reality, so that when you remove the false reality that they believe most of their life, you don't cause their psyche to collapse, right? So sometimes, I understand that I made people cry in the past, and I went like years, decades ago, and I didn't mean to do it on purpose. When I heard that the planets moved, and that, Bill Nye said the planet moved, and I was born, and I thought I was one astrological sign, when I was in high school or something, and then I listened to Bill Nye talk about the planet moved, and it's 2,000 years later, and so if you think you were like a Scorpio, you're really an Aries, because it's one sign off, or whatever. And I don't know what
I've heard something like that also.
Yeah, but then I see somebody with a tattoo saying Scorpio, and I go, hey, did you know the planet moved? And then they had like 2 people or whatever. They had one person anyways, had like a nervous breakdown. They couldn't come to terms mentally with the fact that in reality, there was no such thing as astrology, and that the planet had moved, and they thought they were the wrong sign, and that they had the wrong tattoo or something. That's one of those, like, what if a person gets this tattoo and it's all spelled wrong, but like the wrong sign or something, right? I don't know. And they actually started crying, and I was like, oh, fuck, wow. I just was like freaked out. But apparently, I got all kinds of stuff like that. Now I'm afraid to even speak. And then I'm scared because 51 for our democracy. There's no. You ever heard the word republic anymore, or anybody ever read a fucking law book?
It's pretty rare that you hear the word republic.
I know, but that's the point. Like, this is, man, we've already been through this, man. You remember the song Cult of Personality? There's like the 80s. And this whole generation forgot that and has no idea that even exists. The Cult of Personality is like the chairman guy with his poster billboard, and they're all bowing down. What the fuck did you go over and tear down the fucking guy's statue? And what's the whole point of, hey, the French Revolution or whatever, England, hey, you're not divine authority. You're just a dirty monkey that shaves his legs like everybody else, you nose pick and ass scratcher. Fucking what, want a banana? Hey, your closest relative's a bonobo chimp. Whatever, I don't know. Make a fucking sex joke, cause whatever. Wow. I don't know. Because then again, it's fucked up. So that's why I was trying to make, it's one thing to have common ground, but it's another thing because it don't matter if you got the scientific evidence and the validity, validation, or whatever to prove or to demonstrate that it's 4.5 billion years old. Because 51% of the fucking people over there think that it's fucking 6,000 years old, and they don't give a fuck about your evidence for evolution. And so That's where I call this thing called the devil's contract. Okay, then let's post it public legal notice. And you got 30 fucking days to dispute it, or 90, for all I give a fuck, or forever hold your peace, just like in contract law, just like in the wedding, just like at the billboard at the highway, saying if you dispute the fact that I'm claiming this land, if you don't dispute it within like the next 30 days or nobody calls this number, then I'm building a fucking house here and you can all shut the fuck up forever. And you post it in the newspaper or something. In fact, that's what I'm trying to grow up and listen and learn the ancient, oh shit, should have listened to fucking grandpa when they said, why did they put Dunce's farmer keep the mailbox off his property? Because you don't want the wicked witch coming on your fucking land.
That's the fact, yeah. You don't want the government coming on your land. That's the truth.
Well, you know, and then we got to be careful here because I'm not anti-government, and I noticed there's a new term, and I got pissed off this week because there's all these little hotshot internet gurus trying to show up because you've been around a lot longer than they come. I've seen them come and go, and you've been a steady little boy floating up there, an anchor or whatever. And so there's another one that come and go in the last couple of weeks or a week or so. Every video, every other day they make something about misinformation and disinformation and this new terminology, malinformation. Not a fucking, they don't know a fucking thing about psyops. Not a goddamn thing about how would a Russian agent subvert your child. Holy fuck. Nobody will ever go near that and try to figure it out, and they'll be mind fucked and whammied, and their kid will be like, oh, better red than dead, the earth is flat, or whatever. No, I'm not mocking, I'm just saying. And, oh yeah, so malinformation is information that's factual, but causes you to mistrust the government. And so then today, I went tripping out for like 2 hours yesterday and 2 hours this morning, making recordings, or trying to make a video bitching about that, going, holy fuck. Just because Caligula is a fucking asshole doesn't mean that I don't like the Roman Senate, you piece of shit. You think I'm fucking 5 years old? You want to try arguing and talking like a girlfriend I had 40 goddamn years ago? And every man's going to start talking like a narcissistic, psychopathic, Sumerian bartender whore? And if that's the best you got, bring it the fuck on, pick up the pen and sign the contract. Because according to the mythology and the rules, even the devil himself obeys contract law. So if you can't be lawful evil, like a really good Dungeons and Dragons, demon, devil, Satan, Lucifer, whatever, then you can go fuck yourself. Because that means that Satan's got more fucking class than you. And you don't even have the fucking class of my dog or the squirrel across the road. You can't. You honor contracts as the devil does. So what's your fucking problem? Right?
Yeah, I keep asking that too. What's your fucking problem?
Yeah, I don't know. I got lots of problems, and most of them have to do with my frustration that I'm not a car salesman.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. It's not just you who has lots of problems. It's everybody has lots of problems, and you try and cut them a little bit of slack when you can.
Yeah. So, like I said, in order to, it doesn't matter. So, if 51% they believe, okay, so then you do okay. So then I also did something else because everybody else talks about I don't say their names, so they talk about the rocket shielders or the demons and the aliens that controlling the bankers and everything else. You know what the common denominator is that no one will ever go to? The fucking, because no one likes the path of least resistance, everybody will take that. That's what everything in nature does, the path of least resistance. If it means going to the library, you know the answer, section 426 of some fucking banking thing, or I don't know, nobody. They will die, they will starve, they will fuck. They won't go look it up, so just keep it to me, yourself, and anybody else. You want to form a social group? 5 people or more. We got a little social club, and we don't need you. We got our fucking beliefs here. Here's our little contract. The Earth is 4.5 billion years old and an old Blake spheroid. And you want to dispute that, then we don't come to our clubhouse. We won't come to your clubhouse. And so apparently in the 1930s, the financial system was a people kind of deal, and apparently I've heard rumors that the people were declared the enemy. So, I don't know. I'm the kind of guy that goes to the fucking library, and I don't care if the rocket shooters or the fucking aliens did it, or the fucking Satans did it, and the fucking bankers. I went to the goddamn library and got the bank name. Or I phoned the fucking bank, and I spent 6 minutes on hold waiting to talk to the bank manager to ask them, is this true? I phoned Forbes magazine 10 years ago. The military in 1991 told me there's no such thing as money. It's all fiat currency. I saw Forbes magazine. All currencies on earth are fiat. I Googled it this morning or yesterday. Hey Siri, are all currencies on earth fiat? Yeah, I called the fucking bank. I got money ripped off from me one time with a fake court order. Somebody stole $48,000. I thought about claiming bankruptcy because then I would get $600 or $800 a month back from them stealing my fucking money or something like this, right? And so if I claim bankruptcy, I get more money. Or I would rather suffer than to let the motherfucker take it, whatever. I fucking eat dirt to let you fucking whatever. So I didn't claim bankruptcy because I also said to the bankruptcy guy, is there another option? Wink, wink. And he went, well, yes, but whatever. And they can't talk about it. And I know that nobody goes and looks it up. But I can go, there's a video I got on my channel, Taxman Cometh. And there's a scene where the lawyer's telling the guy, do this, do that, go to the library. And he goes to the fucking library. And he's looking the shit up in the library. And he fucking freaks out in the middle of the library. And I've done that. I laughed. I cracked up watching that scene. Because I actually did that when I went to the library. I looked at, hey, you got a bank manual. You got to go into this hermetically sealed room, sir, and read the fucking law of security and bank links. It's all fucking, and so I'm in there and I'm like looking at it. I'm like, holy crap, it's right here. It's all right here. I can't believe this. Hey, you see this? And like, shh, quiet. So I'm like, oh, what's this right here? Holy fuck. And so, maybe my problem is that I'm not a shyster snake oil salesman. And I just realized that I should be, the sucker is born every minute. And I thought that I was the kind of guy not let, maybe teach Tai Chi to Little Red Riding Hood and give her some mace before she goes into the forest. Because there's a lot of big bad wolves who want to rape her and fuck her around and mentally manipulate her. Or here's some rum, little girl, give me the deed to the farm. And like, no, whatever. But I guess that's the wrong thing to do apparently now, because if you got an attitude like that, I guess I won't be able to get a job at the fucking, the, what do you call that, mouse world. You don't agree with shit like that, I guess, now. I'm not saying names there. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen, sorry, I gotta call it a night because I have to go somewhere, and it's time sensitive. So thanks so much for calling, dude. I really appreciate it. You should call. You should call back more often.
I will try to do so. I'll
Okay.
send a reminder.
Yeah, and thanks for being around all the years. Okay.
You're welcome, and thank you too.
Yeah.
For
All right.
sure. We wouldn't be talking if either one of us weren't around all these years, I guess, right now. So, peace, brother.
Okay. You too. Stay cool. I have to do some other things. So, thank you so much for tuning in. We do this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nights. Well, let's see. No, that's not correct. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. So I hope that we see you then, because it's always better when you're here, which means next week we'll be here Tuesday at 7 p.m. and I hope we see you there. So until then, stay cool, because one of these days this war is going to end. Stay cool. Wait a minute. Hello, caller.
Michael, this is Steve McClan. What the fuck are you doing? You gonna go or something? You got shit to do? What the fuck are you doing? Where are you going? Michael, where the fuck are you going currently?
That's above your pay grade.
Are you going to the fucking grocery store?
No.
You know they have free delivery and shit for fucking the elderly and stuff. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, it doesn't look that way to me. I've looked.
Is it?
It's like
For
cost
COVID
money
reasons?
Cost money for delivery of groceries.
Oh, well, that's tragic.
Yeah. Well.
So, folks,
It's Dobbs for donations Thursday. Let's get Michael some groceries, folks. Okay, and we won't have to worry about this son of a bitch returning his goddamn shopping cart to the fucking cart corral currently. Michael,
I gotta go.
Where the fuck are you going, Michael? You're not going anywhere. Literally, you don't drive, dude. You don't even have a moped or a bicycle.
Why? How is that any of your business? What is the point that you're trying to make here? What is your point?
I'm not trying to make any point. I'm just wondering where the fuck you're going. You act like you gotta go. And
I gotta
shit.
go. I gotta go.
Where the fuck are you going?
Away from you. You're not adding anything to my life right now. I'm going away from you. How about that?
You got like
I don't know what happened to that guy. I don't know why he got such a giant chip on his shoulder. Right? But for some reason, everybody's fuck all. So, when you come to your senses, let me know. Okay, and until that, what was I saying? Let's see. That would be a really good segment, Jackie. Actually, I did at least one video that was like mocks, walks, but I don't think I published it. Me and Boo Bear and Gurgle. I should find that video. Where was I? We do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights, which means we'll be back on Tuesday, same Mark's time, same Mark's channel, 7 p.m. Until then, stay cool, because one of these days, this war is going to end. Unless the Pentagon and the CIA has its way. Which it seems like that's what's going to happen. But regardless, still, one of these days this war is going to end. It has to. All good things come to an end. Stay cool till then.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. MoxNews.com.
I'm going to show you my invisible mask.
Very serious.
This is my invisible mask for Stacey Abrams. Ready? I'm going to put it on. It's on. It's great. All right, Carol.
gosh.
Last word here. Okay, I'm going to show you my invisible mask.
Very serious.
This is my invisible mask for Stacey Abrams. Ready? I'm going to put it on. It's on. It's great. All right, Carol.
gosh.
Last word here.